South's oldest rivalry, Auburn. Mississippi State at Texas, Cocktail, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia
Tech. The thing that jumped out most at me about this schedule, Lance, is that they are on the road against three teams that would be in the 12-team playoff this year: Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss. Yeah, and that's a tough schedule.
Well, I was going to bring up, there is a possibility that Georgia, they will be underdogs in Tuscaloosa. There's a possibility they're underdogs twice on this schedule.
At Texas?
At Texas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Possibly. You don't see that very often. But, that's three playoff teams, three teams that would have been in the 12-team playoff, and you're on the road at all three of them. And, by the way, I don't know about you guys, I anticipate all three of those teams, even Ole Miss, contending for a playoff spot next year, don't you?
Yeah, Jackson Dart's coming back.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins is back. They got a lot of pieces back on the team that was a 10-win team this year.
So my question is, if we go to 9 SEC games like we should, do we lose the Tennessee Tech game or do we lose the Clemson game off of schedules like this?
I don't know. I hope you lose, with all due respect to Tennessee Tech and UMass. I hope those are the games you lose off a schedule like this.
Well, you'll keep one.
Yeah. Those types of games. And you keep a Clemson game. I don't know. I think, Jim, the way you see people scheduling in the future, they don't think that's that big a deal.
Well, you've already told me, and I appreciate it. You're going to give me a chance to, after losing 3 consecutive steaks in 3 straight seasons.
I'm going to take unbeaten Georgia again for a steak.
I feel really, what do you think, Brown? I feel really good that Georgia at least trips up once.
I thought they were going to lose a game in this year's schedule. Next year's is much more difficult.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to
the streak's
be motivated.
Over. Part of the reason I thought they would lose a game this year was that streak. You just don't do that.
They'll be playing with a mat on next year.
Yeah. By the way, I feel good if they make it through the Tennessee game. I'll start smoking cigars week number 11 and 12.
You think they can handle UMass and Georgia Tech at home?
Yeah. November's not their games to remember. All right, there you go. That's the show today. In about 90 minutes, we'll be at Walk-Ons. Don't hold us to 1:30, maybe 1:40. We're going to try to do it as quick and timely as possible. Set your alerts, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Flora-Bama tomorrow. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live daily show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Frost Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
And we're back home, everybody. Feels like it anyway, at the Flora-Bama down on the Gulf Coast. Sampled a little music and a little food here last night when we got into the town, and we're back this weekend for what became one of our favorite sporting events of the year in 2022 when we sat back and we watched Army-Navy in this venue down here at the Flora-Bama, an opportunity to hang out with some local veterans and some servicemen and women who are still active. And we watched the Army-Navy game and experience it the way they do it here at the Flora-Bama, and we get to do that again tomorrow here. And if you're in the area, you can always come out here to the Flora-Bama, not only for the music today and tonight, but also this weekend for the Christmas festivities, including the Santa drop and also the Army-Navy game tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, the whole gang back in our Birmingham studios after the Walk-Ons afternoon show yesterday and our show in Birmingham. We're here now. We had a conference call about the broadcast coming up in Huntsville next week of the Auburn game while we're still planning out our trip to Vegas and then Pasadena. It's a pretty busy month of December here.
It is. You know, December's always really, really busy. I was talking to our friend Dave Upton from Craneworks earlier this morning. They've got their big Christmas party next Wednesday. We're going to be out there after the show. Guess who they've got coming out?
I happen to know the answer to that. I don't know if Dunaway knows.
Dunaway?
I think coming out, other than Santa, who'll be there.
No Elvis. Elvis is dead.
Taylor Hicks is always there. Taylor Hicks comes in and blows that harmonica, sings a little bit. I think Jalen Milroe, Terrion Arnold, Tyler Booker, and maybe Elijah McAllister coming.
You were dead on. I don't know if Tyler Booker is going to make it out. I know there is a confirmation from Jalen, Terrion, and Elijah.
How about that?
So I think there'll be 3,000 people that come to that Christmas party. So
they'll be signing autographs, too, and they don't mind the public coming by. Come see Craneworks facility. It's an impressive facility. Come get autographs from Jalen Milroe, Terrion Arnold, and they'll have food and fellowship. So I think David, I don't know if he told you this, Lance. I think he's like, man, we can hold up to 5,000 people. We don't mind if it's 5,000 people there.
That's pretty awesome.
That is. David's good. I mean, it's a good Birmingham area business that has been a supporter of our show from day one, basically. So, go enjoy a nice Christmas party there. And if you're a Bama or Auburn fan, scheduled to appear, I guess I should say. Schedules can always change for college football players.
Yeah, but to your point, Dunaway, I mean, in the fall, it seems like we've got something every day and every night. But Christmas, it almost doubles.
It does seem that way. So thank you to all of you guys for going with us on the ride. And if you're in the area today, the front door of the Flora-Bama is open. Swing on in here and come hang out with us. We're here until 12 noon Central Time in the area. And then we're going to be here a little afterwards as we'll do a mystery fifth hour with our man, Uncle Steve. And we'll talk a little Flora-Bama music coming up on our mystery fifth hour after the show on our video platforms throughout the weekend. So let's get into what's going on in the sports world. Let's first go on the recruiting cycle, because this happened during the show yesterday, and I mentioned to you guys that the last five-star recruit came off the board, at least on a verbal commitment, to Colorado. Remember, I mentioned that yesterday. Jordan Seaton, right, five-star offensive tackle, and LT asked, where is he from? And I didn't have that in front of me. The show ended. He actually is an IMG Academy guy, just like Tyler Booker.
Boy, that team.
And who did Colorado beat out?
Alabama. Yeah.
So when Booker's on, I think if this doesn't flip around by December 20th, I think we tell Booker.
That's on him?
That's on Booker. That's got to be his guy. He's got to get to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, how'd you not get him home?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. And to sidebar on that, IMG. Like, was this like a group of individuals that actually started this? Is it a profitable organization?
I would imagine IMG was the group of individuals. Yeah.
Because the reason I bring this up is, and we'll get to this at some point, but Alabama has Purdue and Canada tomorrow. Zach Edey is a kid that didn't even play middle school basketball, didn't start playing basketball till high school. His family his family all moved to Florida to go to IMG.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, not only on the football side, I mean, IMG has got this thing covered. So, and I don't know how it works. So they like, hey, give us 2% career earnings.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they just want you to sign with an IMG agent at the end, and they'll take care of that career earnings. Maybe that's part of the deal. I really don't know. I've always been fascinated. I haven't taken the time I probably should have to study IMG, but it is a fascinating idea. Go get high school's best players in a lot of sports, not just football. We talk about football all the time, but they got all the stuff.
I think even cheerleading, Brown.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Can't make any money off the cheerleaders though.
I'm just saying, I do think that.
But you got to have cheerleaders.
I think they recruit cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Who go on and get scholarships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they have cheerleading as well down there. But to your point, I don't think they have band.
They don't have band.
Yeah, I don't think they have band. I think they have cheerleaders.
Hey, there's good money in music, man.
But they got basketball, to your point.
Yeah, golf, tennis. I think they've got everything. Yeah, and I guess their gamble is if we've got 1,000 student athletes, if we get 10% that are making bank, it was well worth it, right? As long as they're our clients, if we get 10% that are our clients and that 10% generates X amount of dollars, this is well worth it.
Yeah, this would have been a great landing spot for Venus and Serena back in the day. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie King Richard. I really had no desire to see it, but when my internet got cut, I had to go back, and anything I had recorded on DVR is the only thing I could watch. So I ended up watching King Richard one night with Will Smith.
Was that so it's good?
Oh, man. I mean, he is kind of that annoying, over-the-top dad, but what he did for his daughters and the belief he had in them and the position he put them in to succeed, but it would have been so easy with an IMG. Take them, let them hit a little bit, and they probably would have got swept up.
Yeah.
Really interesting. That IMG thing, but I wanted to put a bow on that recruiting news yesterday that we did near the end of the show that we didn't talk about on the college side. Interesting stat from our buddy Chuck Dunlap. We'll get to that coming up in a moment. Our show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City, Greg Nelson, just a terrific human being, family man. He and his wife, they've got 10 children. They've got grandkids now. He is locally owned for over 20 years. Call this number for a free no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531. Hit me up on social media. I'll give you that number, or you can look him up on Facebook. Greg from Pell City, A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies trust him, and it's absolutely, whether it's a storm repair, putting on a new roof, or just needing an inspection, he'll take care of you. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. Before we get to that Chuck Dunlap stat, which is pretty amazing, last night on Thursday Night Football in the National Football League, New England beats Pittsburgh. Bailey Zappi, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half. 21-18, they hold on for the win. For Pittsburgh first, they have now lost 2 in a row to go 7-6, and they lost to Arizona and New England, arguably 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. That's bad for the Steelers. Well, they're trending in a bad direction.
Did you see the stat? And this is kind of a wordy stat, so follow me, okay? It is the first time in NFL history that a team that was 500 has lost back-to-back games to 2-10 teams, or 2-win teams. I don't think both of them were 2-10 at the time. So the first time in NFL history, a 500 team has lost back-to-back games to 2-win teams. So
and that was a bad loss last night.
You think?
And
so was Arizona for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
to get in the playoffs, both of those.
And both of those games at home.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with somebody last night because we were trying to figure out how long Tomlin's been there. In 2007 was the first year, but I told him he's never had a losing season.
He's going to have to fight it this year, Lance.
Yeah. I mean, he is. He's 7-6 now. I want to see how their landing comes up. Their offensive line is
at
awful.
Colts versus Bengals, at Seahawks, at Ravens. Find me. He's going to have to get to.
I can't give you a win there.
Yeah, I know.
He's got to get 2 of those.
Yeah. So find me 2 wins right there. At Colts versus Bengals, at Seahawks, at Ravens.
Well, there you go. First ever losing season coming up for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
You've got an excuse, though. Your starting quarterback went out. I still think with Kenny Pickett, they probably win last night, but they wouldn't win any of those games. I mean, I don't know what they've got. They got a roster problem.
They do.
They do. I think they have a quarterback problem. I've said that. He's not playing right now, but I don't know if they're much different if he's playing. That being said, the other side of the coin is a crazy dichotomy that you get in the National Football League. That the Patriot fans, who are a tough fan base to please anyway,
right?
because the Bostonians and those people from New England are they're picky.
They're tough people.
Tough people.
Yeah, period. They're probably tough to please in baseball, hockey, football, food, traffic,
They helped
weather.
start our country back in 1770s.
Their forefathers did.
They threw their tea into the harbor and
That's
we're
right.
up and rolling,
Yeah.
right?
So they've been bitching from day one.
That's right. I mean, they were pissed about tea prices.
how we
That way,
started.
look, I know.
You know what it is, though? It's weather.
They bitched about taxation without representation.
Yep.
And here we are.
You got to shovel snow
That's
90
right.
days a year.
Yeah, who wants to do that crap?
So they're 2-10 going into last night. They've been bitching about they suck all year long.
Yep.
Bill Belichick, as the time is near. Mac Jones has sucked at quarterback, so they put in Bailey Zappi, who plays good. Belichick throws out a good game plan. They win the game. What do? They bitch because now it's screwing up their draft order.
Yeah.
Because they had said to themselves, maybe we'll get, Caleb Williams. Maybe we'll get Drake May. Maybe we'll get Marvin Harrison Jr. So now they're upset they were winning games.
Well, they know that they don't have their quarterback on that roster. I think it's going to be a big start from scratch. You heard Al Michaels, and Brown, you brought up this point before when we talked about the future of Bill Belichick. First of all, I don't think you shoot him in the back of the head because he's having a bad season based on what he did for you winning 6 Super Bowls. But you're not just going to fire the guy because there is some equity you can get out of Bill Belichick. And Al Michaels said he thought it was 0.02% that he would be fired.
Well, because, and for those that don't know, the way it works in the NFL is not like college, where if you fire a guy, you got to buy him out. You own the rights to Bill Belichick if you're Robert Kraft. So if another franchise wants him, you got to give something up to get him. A lot of people, Lance, in the NFL think it would be a first-round draft pick, that Bill Belichick would be a first-round draft pick, worth a first-round draft pick to a team that needs a new coach. If I'm looking at some of these teams, the Commanders, who probably are going to fire Ron Rivera, would you want to give up a first-round draft pick to get late Bill Belichick if you're a Commanders fan?
Depends on what I'm drafting.
The Bears, if they don't get Harbaugh and they make a move.
Better chance or better ask New England fans, would you rather give up Belichick and get a first-round pick?
Oh, I think they would in a heartbeat.
I think
now.
they would.
Yeah,
too.
I think they're ready to close that chapter and move on.
And to that point, not firing, if Belichick decides we're parting ways and he can walk away from it, then they can walk away and New England not be on the hook for that, right?
But he's got to retire. He can't coach anywhere.
Yeah.
For him to coach again, New England's got to get some compensation.
As long as he's got that contract.
That's right. Carolina is without a coach. I don't know if that would be good or bad for Bryce Young. I don't know if Carolina fans would want it.
I think it shows it would not be good.
You bring up Bryce Young, and I know anyone outside of Alabama fans probably love this, but it shows you destination is so important.
Oh, yeah.
And not only Bryce, what he's going through right now, CJ Stroud, not to discount anything he's doing, but it is a better situation right now in Houston. And if Mac would have ultimately gone to San Francisco, I think he is starting. I think he is thriving. I don't think there's any difference, and people might disagree with what Brock Purdy is doing. And instead, he goes to New England. It seemed like a great thing because it was kind of a middle of the draft position. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but anyway, he comes in, he starts immediately, and had a really good, rookie season. And since then, it's just fallen apart. He has no confidence right now.
It's been that way since the beginning of time. More on Mac Jones in a second, but that's why Archie Manning, who suffered through that, right? He was a big college star back in the late 60s, early 70s, and he went to New Orleans, and he had no talent around him, and he was a fantastic player, but he struggled his whole NFL career because the franchise sucked. So when Eli was getting drafted, he was like maneuvering around. Peyton, he was okay where they were going, but he was like Eli, with the people that were out there. Eli is not going to play for, who was it, San Diego?
It was the Chargers, which was weird in hindsight. Now, it worked for Eli because he went and won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants and was, kind of beloved by that fan base at times.
The Chargers got good quick.
Yeah, the Chargers were good. That was the weird thing about it. It wasn't like you were going to a team that never did anything. The Chargers were they won. They were the one seed in the AFC. Some with Philip Rivers at that time.
And just 5 years before, they were in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I thought that whole situation was weird.
It was odd.
It looked like Archie, the kids have been crying, and Archie was taking care and stepping in and being the little league dad. It wasn't a good look then.
It wasn't.
Most people have forgotten, but I understood his point.
Right. He had gone through going to the wrong place.
That's right.
He trusted where Peyton was going to go to Indianapolis on what they could do, who the coaches were, and what would happen. He didn't trust the Charger situation at that time, and that's why he was putting his foot down.
Well, you remember
how important it is to go to the right place.
Yeah. So for Peyton Manning, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm 99% correct, or I think I'm correct. So he was going to come out his junior year, but the Jets had number 1.
That's right.
Yep.
And so he was like, you know what? I'm going to go on back.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Chances are it ain't going to be worse than the Jets.
I remember the announcement. They in some big
Yeah.
booster room in Knoxville, he came out there and surprised everybody
Yeah.
by saying, "I'm coming back to Tennessee."
Before NIL.
Yeah, before NIL.
The luxury of having a rich dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or just under the table boosters.
Hey, speaking of that, have you guys heard about this Marvin Harrison situation?
Yeah,
You-
we'll get that in a big discussion a
Okay.
little bit later
Because
on.
I want to see how much you guys have heard and if there can't be any legitimacy to it.
Okay, that's later on. Right now, we're talking about Mac Jones and the Patriots last night. You think he's done in New England? Do you think he's done in the NFL?
I think he's done in New England, but because you have the quarterbacks that are starting right now, I mean, you just look around the league, Will Levis is a starting quarterback. So Mac Jones is going to have some opportunities. I just don't know where those are. Like if he was in Cleveland right now, I think it would be interesting. I mean, Cleveland's a pretty good team.
But they've got Deshaun Watson. He'd be
Yeah, but I'm
he'd
saying-
be QB2 there.
But Deshaun's out for the year. So
Yeah.
I'm saying if he had the opportunity to play right now, it might look a little different than his opportunity when he plays in New England.
But I mean, with the quarterbacks coming in, is there a place for Mac Jones in the National Football League as a starter?
No, I think as a capable backup that could turn into a starting role. But I think Mac Jones could be a capable backup somewhere. I mean,
Like my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, Baker Mayfield is fighting it. He's a gutty guy fighting it out. But obviously, we're in the market for a quarterback, right? We do not have a franchise quarterback right now. Mac Jones is not the answer.
he's not a franchise quarterback,
Right.
but I think Mac Jones is quality depth for you. Like if Mac Jones would have been a good backup in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins going out, right? I mean, that's a better option than I know Josh Dobbs was a really nice story, but that story probably is not going to hold on after his Monday Night Football appearance recently. So, I mean, would Mac Jones be better than that situation? Yes.
But you were making it sound like if he was in San Francisco, he'd be the starting quarterback and thriving. So he's got talent enough if he's got the right people around him.
I would think he would be. Now, where his
Oh.
confidence is now, I don't know. I just remember Mac Jones when he had talent around him in 2020. He was unbelievable. If it wasn't for Devontae Smith being, just a next level out of this world player, it's a good chance Mac Jones wins a Heisman Trophy.
Let me do this. Rockstar.
Sir.
Can I get Scott's microphone real quick? This one interests me. So, Scotty, as a Atlanta Falcons fan with what you've seen, you could drop Desmond Ridder right now and take Mac Jones. Would you do that?
Now you're factoring in Alabama-Auburn blood, too.
No, that's okay, Scott. Scott, drop the Auburn, just be the Falcons. Would you take Mac Jones?
That's tough.
Is it tough because you're an Auburn guy, or is it tough because you don't like Mac Jones?
No, I think that's a toss-up. I'd probably go Ritter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow, that's rough.
That's a low bar right there.
Yeah, I would just say this about Mac. I mean, first year, 68% completion percentage. It's dropped every year. Production's dropped, touchdowns. I thought he was a very accurate quarterback in Tuscaloosa.
Tennessee Titans, New Orleans, Atlanta.
I don't.
Well, he needs to go quarterback-friendly systems, and Kyle Shanahan has one of those, one of the friendliest for quarterbacks.
And a boatload of talent.
Yeah.
around him.
I mean, Sean McVay puts his quarterbacks in really good situations.
But you wouldn't take him if Matt Stafford retired right now at the end of this.
No.
You would not take Mac Jones.
But I would rather have him than Brett Rippon, who was the number 2.
Yeah.
So maybe back to Brown's point, I do think he's got a career card where he'll be a number 2, and I think he'll have some opportunities to start moving down the
I
road.
tell you where he would be valuable. You mentioned Tennessee. Like if I was going to take a gamble on a Will Levis, to have a guy that's got some starting experience as a backup, that if the gamble doesn't work, I can always go to at least a guy that has had some starting experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that cool note from Chuck Dunlap down at the SEC about Nick Saban right after LT tells us about our friends at Michelson, laservision.com. I mean, we're down here. There'll be some fighter pilots in here tomorrow as we watch Army Navy at the Flora-Bama. And is your vision fighter pilot-esque?
2015, yeah. So
Bogey over here. You see it?
if you have been procrastinating, thinking about getting LASIK done, now is the time. You still have time to get screened out, get the procedure done by the first of the year. You're going to save big from the next round. And our friends at Michelson Laser Vision, when I got it done over 20 years ago, I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, 2015 vision better than 2020. Still got it. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Make the phone call today, 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
And guess where my wife and daughter are going today?
Vail, Colorado.
Atlantis.
No, it's just down the street from where we are. They're going to Woodhouse Day Spa because I have stacked up for 2 years. It is a gift that it just gives to my wife, and she's in school, right?
Right.
So I figure it's good for her to have a massage or a spa.
No doubt.
Day
Gotta let that stress out.
So I think I gave her one last Christmas, and I may have
Last Christmas, I gave you this card.
I may have dropped another big one in for Valentine's.
That was
Day.
close, Brown.
So they may have about $700 worth of spa dollars in our top right-hand drawer in our kitchen.
Maybe or maybe not.
And I was talking to my wife last night, and she goes, "You know what Harper and I are doing? My daughter, if you don't know, on the show tomorrow." And I said, "I've got no clue. I said, hopefully moving her out of her college apartment, so I don't have to do that when I get back." That was not the answer. They are going to Woodhouse Day Spa today to spend all the gift certificates from Christmas and Valentine's.
Well, if they don't, you ought to reach in there and get one for yourself.
Oh, I've thought about it, but
I had the opportunity to see Stuart and his great staff the other night, a little Christmas party during the middle of the week. I went to see our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Just a fantastic place. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. The gift card is a great idea. You don't have to put much thought into it. You can order it online 24/7. You can throw it in a box, wrap it, put it under the tree, and put it in the stocking. It'll work any which way you go. You can get them 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Or stop in, see Stuart and the great staff, and tell them the next round sent you.
Do you like that song, Last Christmas?
I like the Taylor Swift version of it.
Of course you do.
Yeah. Here is the stat from Chuck Dunlap, per Bama Central, who does some stuff on social media, if you guys follow them. But Chuck passing this along to all of his followers. So I'm sure Chuck has checked out this information.
We've been asked this a lot, and I couldn't find the answer easily. So they've done some digging on this.
Here we go. If Alabama wins the Rose Bowl, Nick Saban will become the first coach to win back-to-back games during the same season against two different number one teams in college football history. Now, it's a lot of work there.
Yeah.
It's got to line up for you.
Yep.
But back-to-back games against two different number one teams in the same season.
That tells me at some point somebody ended the year beating number one and started the year beating number one. To word it that way, it's an incredible stat, though, Lance. And like, I'm amazed this late in the game we are still getting, if Nick Saban does this, he'll be the first person ever to do it stats, because I feel like he's accomplished almost all those already.
Well, I racked my brain on this, and I thought about in 2009 when Alabama beat Florida. But Alabama was number one, weren't they?
I think it was 1 versus 2 because Florida had the loss, right? They had lost
Mississippi.
Because I was going to say,
I
even
don't
if it
think
was
they did.
flipped,
That
I
was
bet
08.
Texas wasn't 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's just wild to think that, and a lot of people say Auburn, the only thing that prevented Auburn from doing it was La Monroe, because they beat Georgia, played La Monroe, beat Alabama back in 2017. That was crazy. I remember us talking about then, how on earth can you beat two number one teams in a 3-game span? To do it back to back is wild. And again, I'm stunned that we're still doing Nick Saban could do this for the first time in college football history stories, because it feels like anything we've ever talked about with Nick Saban, that if he does this, it'll be the first time he's done it already.
And for those of you wondering about our programming leading up to Pasadena, we had planned a trip to Las Vegas. We've got some friends in Vegas on that side of it, so we're going to go out to Vegas.
yeah, our friends Kicking It Coolers, Richard Holland and the guys. They've actually got us hooked up with a place down here, but also Las Vegas. Yeah, we're working on details right now.
So we're going to be out there.
In a publicly accessible place, if you happen to be in Vegas. Yeah,
we're going to be in Vegas between Christmas and New Year's Day. We're going to be there first, and then Alabama, of course, got sent to the national championship game in Pasadena, which works out for us.
That's right.
So from Vegas, a couple of shows there, we'll go to Pasadena to Los Angeles for a few shows there, and then on our way back, we're going to go back to Vegas and do one more show in Vegas.
Why not, baby? Vegas, baby.
And then come back to Birmingham and knock on the Flora-Bama wood, maybe to Houston after that. So that's our plans coming up, all that in the next few weeks here on the next round. When we come back, we'll jump into a little portal news, a little discussion that LT wants to bring up about Marvin Harrison Jr. out there. Todd Fuhrman's on the show at 10 a.m. Central Time, starting hour 2. And we got an old friend. If you were with us in Ocean City, We found him poolside. Interrupted his family vacation. He returns in the final hour. See if you can guess who that is. Remember maybe that moment in show history. And we'll tell you more about him coming up later in the show as we're at the beautiful Flora-Bama down here for a special weekend right here on The Next Round. Back in a moment.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This holiday season, give the gift of peace and security to your home with $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and rodents before they come in. Call 866-WAYNES-1 to gift yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any recurring service with Wayne's and save $50 off. Don't let mice and rats be uninvited guests to your holiday celebrations. Get a pest-free holiday and save $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services when you call 866-WAYNES-1.
Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only Ariat shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the big red building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, we got football tonight, by the way. FCS playoffs continue. They're in the quarterfinals. 1 game tonight, 3 games tomorrow. Furman and Montana tonight, outside in Montana. Missoula tonight.
We've got a friend that'll be there.
Somebody check the forecast for me real quick of Missoula, Montana tonight.
Our friend Brock Heward, his daughters play for Montana, and so they went to watch their daughters play. They're going to be playing on Saturday, so they're going to the game tonight, and then going to watch his daughters. But I guarantee I'm going to check it for you right now.
Okay,
I bet it's snowing.
Furman, Montana, 8 o'clock, ESPN2. So it's even a late 8 o'clock kick. ESPN2 tonight, 1 of 4 playoff games this weekend.
It is, yep, it's going to snow tonight.
All right,
Yep.
snow game.
So snow game.
Yeah, it's in the 30s. Well, it's going to snow later this afternoon, but it's just going to hover around 32, 33.
That's not terrible.
Bad.
Yeah, you can get worse than that for sure.
Furman and Montana tonight. Tomorrow, right after game day, 11 a.m. on ESPN, Villanova in #1 South Dakota State. Another outdoor game. South Dakota State, by the way, has won 26 straight games. And then North Dakota State, so bad this year by their standards that they're on the road at South Dakota. That's a dome game. And then Albany tomorrow night against Idaho in the Kibbie Dome. and that's an indoor game. Small domes, but fun atmospheres in the FCS this weekend. Part of the show being brought to you by our friends at Decide to Ride. Drunk driving prevention is a priority always with our friends at Anheuser-Busch. And we always talk about this on the show. Decide to Ride is something you can do in advance, right? You can't drive drunk if you don't drive there. Encourage all your friends and coworkers to join in a pledge to Decide to Ride on DecideToRide.com. Go to DecideToRide.com. Brought to you by our friends at Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Uber, Adams Beverages, and here at the Next Round. And at some of our events and maybe your events coming up this holiday season, we'll help you with that Uber deal, right?
Yeah, we're working on that right now. We're going to get specifics on the monetary value, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to give you the opportunity over the next couple of weeks for your office party to have Uber provided by our friends at Decide to Ride.
From Brett McMurphy, who covers college football for the Action Network, Texas received 13,000 tickets for the Sugar Bowl. Texas had requested 52,000 tickets for the Sugar Bowl. Right. They received 13,000. 32,000 season ticket holders and donors, 20,000 students. That's the breakdown there. All right, so they received 13. They got 52. Or they requested 52. They received 13. We were talking with our buddy Steve Susi, ATEX, yesterday when we were out at Walk-Ons. And Steve told us if Texas makes that game in Houston, it is going to be maybe the biggest college football finals ticket of all time.
Yeah. And he said, forget about any chance of Alabama fans taking over the stadium against Texas. No matter how hard you try, you'll get your 13,000. Texas will own the market.
Yep.
At trying to buy all the extra tickets up or whatever the allotment will be for Alabama. It'll be like a true road game for whomever's playing Texas, whether it's Michigan. But if it's Michigan, Texas, Michigan hasn't played for one in a long time.
Yep.
That will be an iconic ticket.
Yeah, I don't know what that price would be in Houston.
I was talking to a big Alabama supporter this morning, and he's not going to the game. And he said a lot of his friends aren't going to the game because they're saving up for Houston. I'm like, wow, this fan base is confident.
Well, yeah, but you better save.
With that said, though, and talking a little more to Steve, I do think this Rose Bowl ticket's going to be a pretty easy ticket.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And we've said it before. Anytime we've gone to one of these games in the Rose Bowl, and keep in mind, both of those were national championship games, not semifinal games. In both situations where it was Alabama or Auburn, I personally got tickets for friends of mine that were under face value. Okay. Now factor in the fact that this is a semifinal and you've got that trip to Houston hovering over you if you're an Alabama fan, and it is a Monday night. So a lot of people have to be at work the next day on that Tuesday. I do think I'm with Lance. If you're on the fence because of ticket prices for that game and you don't already have one, I don't think that's going to be that bad a ticket out at the Rose Bowl. But if you're planning on going to both, I would start saving now for that ticket in Houston, because in the event Texas beats Washington, that one's going to be outrageous.
A lot of buzz going on when it comes to the NFL and the transfer portal. Something on that after I remind you, our friends at Alabama Power has a new app redesigned and gives you all the power in the palm of your hand, whether it's to set up your payments, to check how you're using your power, or when your power is going to come back on in case of a storm. It's all in the palm of your hand. You can download it there at the Apple Store or the Android Store for free. Just go to alabamapower.com/mobile app, alabamapower.com/mobile app. There's no way to know the numbers behind stories like this, if they're true or not. But a pretty common story out there is that there are occasions now where two things are going on. You're getting some players who could go to the NFL who are coming back to their school and saying, if I make this much money, you guarantee me this much money in NIL, I will stay another year. More on that in a second. And then you have some who are able to come in and say, hey, I need this much money guaranteed in the NIL, or I'm going to hit the portal and go to another school. Both of those things are happening right now. Those numbers continue to go up, right? Because if 1 year the market is here, then somebody's going to try to set a new market, right? And it's going to keep going up and up. The story that's out there about one player is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. He said he's undecided over going to the NFL draft or not. And this would be your first receiver that will come off the board. He's going to be a top 5 guy. And I heard a report yesterday. It is, I don't want to throw the number out because I think it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, you don't even believe it's so big. You don't.
It's
even
so
believe it.
big. I don't believe it. And if I was Ohio State, I would say, God bless you. We appreciate the contribution. Go to the NFL and try to make that much next year. It is that big of a number. Like, if you could give him, I think there's a collective that would come up with $2 or $3 million to keep Marvin Harrison Jr. just because he is that big of a difference maker.
I think they would come up. I think they would go $5 million.
5 is heavy. Just because what you could do with 5, what you could do with some offensive linemen, bring in a cornerback here. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously one of the best players in all of college football. We will see him tonight in New York as a Heisman finalist. But I never even thought it was in the – I guess the point here is we're going to see more and more high-profile guys. If they can get enough NIL, why would you not come back?
I couldn't do last year's draft because Jackson Smith-Njigba was the first receiver off the board, but he didn't go till 20. Marvin Harrison will go higher than 20.
Oh,
He will. Yeah, he'll be a top 5.
2 years ago, Drake London went to the Falcons at 8. That's close.
That's more in the range. I think he'll be top 5.
Okay. Drake London with the Falcons is on a 4-year, $21 million deal. That's an average annual salary of $5.3 million. If you don't want to do the math, there was a $12 million signing bonus. So my point to a guy like Marvin Harrison would be, if you're playing two sides against one another, if you're asking for more than what a guy that is in the top 10 made, you're probably asking for too much, right?
Well, I think that's what and again, this might not be Marvin Harrison Jr., so I don't want to paint it like that.
Right.
You know, Caleb Williams a couple of months ago got painted as he wants equity in a team. Caleb Williams never said that. So I don't know what Marvin Harrison Jr., this is probably representation trying to get as much leverage as possible. As long as you and I talked about this yesterday, as long as he's not playing Ohio State against another FBS program, I don't necessarily have a problem with this.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And listen, whoever, if this is true and whatever number it is, the person who is approaching the big boosters or the NIL at Ohio State, they also know one thing. They know that group of money men are now desperate to beat Michigan.
That's true.
And desperation.
Nope, you're right about that.
Opens up wallet.
And that Ryan Day himself is probably a little bit desperate.
That's
so
right.
when they go to him and say, do we need to pay X for Marvin Harrison? He's probably going to say, yeah, I'd kind of like for you
I mean,
to.
you already ran off, and this is interesting too. Marvin Harrison Jr., his quarterback for the last 3 years in Columbus, or he's been at least there 3 years. His starting quarterback this year, Kyle McCord, that was his high school teammate.
Yeah.
They came into Columbus together. So there's a lot of familiarity between those two guys. And I think they did get so desperate. Hey, we've got a 3,000-yard passer that took us to, the cusp of a college football playoff, and we pushed him out there.
I'm just saying, if you're going to ask for a number, right? If you're representing a player and you're going to ask for a number, to get that number, you're probably going to have somebody that is willing to pay it elsewhere. And if even the NFL isn't willing to pay a guy more than $5 or $6 million annually to be a receiver, I don't know what college is going to do it.
Yeah, but you are asking, if this number was true, you're asking Marvin Harrison Jr. to take a risk.
You are.
Add value to that, and you're asking him also to, the longevity of that other deal, as opposed to a 1 year. But basically, they're going to pay him like it's a 4 or 5 year deal. It's not going to happen. But the reason this story became a story yesterday is Marvin Harrison Jr. said, I'm undecided about the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And he really did say that. That was an official report. I'm undecided
about
the NFL right now.
I'll say this about Marvin Harrison Jr. Not only is he a great player, he's very competitive. And you go to Ohio State, you stay for 3 years, and you play at that level, you expect to win a championship. And not only has he not won a championship, he hasn't won a Big Ten championship.
That's exactly right. Hey, our buddy Charles Barkley was on the stage last night. They sort of did a blended cast of the NBA in-season tournament Final Four on ESPN and TNT, which put Charles Barkley on the same set with Stephen A. Smith. It was fantastic, entertaining stuff pregame last night. And then the basketball wasn't fantastic because you had a couple of you had one blowout with the Lakers last night against the Pelicans. The Lakers will play the Pacers in the championship game of the in-season tournament, where the players get a big payout for winning that thing. So much so the Bucks were upset with their coaches and had some fighting in the locker room about the effort in their loss to the Pacers. So Pacers and Lakers Saturday night. Barkley's out in Vegas for that. and he's the owner of Redmont Vodka. A chance for you to enjoy this football and basketball weekend with our friends at Redmont.
Yeah, hey, look, Christmas parties are already in full effect. If you're heading to one, why not stop at your local package or ABC store and pick up a bottle of Redmont Vodka, available at the Beverage Place Pink Package, some of our great sponsors. Also available in 22 states. If they don't have it where you are, tell them to get it. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled. Again, a great stocking stuffer this holiday season. A bottle of Redmont Vodka, available on handles, too.
I think we already know this, but it leaked out again from a different source last night. This one close to both Ole Miss and Mississippi State, that the Egg Bowl is staying on Thanksgiving night. Now, the Chris Lowe ESPN story back a couple of weeks ago also had it there. So I guess that'll be the only SEC game that night, and the only college game that night.
Because for those who don't remember, back when Texas and Texas A&M were in the same conference, they played on Thanksgiving night. They were actually the forerunner of the Egg Bowl.
Yeah,
on Thanksgiving night. I know there's nobody. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. You can't ever say everybody and nobody. There are a lot of people in the Magnolia State that do not like that date. Like, we love it as fans, but I think if you ask Ole Miss and Mississippi State people, they would much rather play this game on Saturday. And I'm talking not just fans. I'm talking Lane Kiffin and staff, maybe Jeff Lebby and staff. I don't know if Lebby knows yet, but, Mike Leach's staff and all. I think they would prefer to have it on Saturday. I don't know how popular it is among those fan bases on Thanksgiving night. I know in America, we love it.
Right. I think Ole Miss had an SEC game on that Saturday, right? And turned around and played Thursday night. And I think Mississippi State did too.
Yeah.
I don't think they.
I'm trying to remember who they were playing.
It seems like Ole Miss had.
No, they had Mercer.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it was La Monroe.
Yeah.
They played La Monroe. I'm not going to remember who State played.
Me either.
But they played La Monroe.
But regardless, that is a quick turn.
Yeah.
They played that on Thursday night without a bye week before. But according to more reports, that game is staying there on Thanksgiving night. We get the full official schedule release from the Southeastern Conference coming up next Wednesday night, opposite of the Auburn-UNC Asheville basketball game that we'll be broadcasting up in Huntsville. We look forward to that. We had a meeting yesterday with those folks during our drive down here. And I felt so much like Lance during that meeting. I was on the meeting, but I couldn't talk. I couldn't hit the button to talk.
I noticed that, because normally you're a talkative person with people you don't know, really.
They were even like, okay, Ryan, Lance, EG, Dunaway, any more questions?
Yep. Nope.
Okay. All right. Jim doesn't have a question.
But see, I never knew if y'all could hear me or not.
Yeah.
So I kept answering everything in my car.
Yeah.
I kept answering everything, and I couldn't tell if you see me, so I didn't pick my nose or anything. I was like, God, I can't. Can they see me? Can they hear me or not? So
this is gonna be fun though. The way we're gonna do this, I wanted to throw some ideas at you guys when we get off.
No, I'm all about it. We need ideas.
But please know, as an Auburn fan, as you watch that, it's gonna be like the Manning cast. So sometimes there will be an interview going on during the action.
There will be, but I will say this, at least we'll be in the arena. Boy, I've watched a lot of SEC basketball games already where the announcers aren't in the arena. Yes.
Oh, we'll be in the arena.
I was watching at Odie's the other night. Texas A&M was on, and I can't remember who they were playing, Lance, the other night. And they're coming back from the half, and they show Dave Neal and who's your buddy, Mark Wise?
Yep.
Yeah, and they're sitting in their living rooms. And I'm like, come on, man. That is just so low rent for
really
the SEC.
Yep. Let's get them back in the arena.
Yeah.
We'll be there Wednesday night up in Huntsville, and it'll be packed at Von Braun. We're looking forward to being a part of that with the great city of Huntsville and their sports agency up there that are putting on this event. Auburn and UNC Asheville, 2 NCAA tournament teams from last year. Should be a big night. Auburn's got Indiana tomorrow in Atlanta. As LT said, Bama and Purdue up there in Toronto. Big basketball slate happening tomorrow around college basketball. We'll talk more about that and do 4 downs when we come back here to the Flora-Bama, the show being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Listen, men, as we get older, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama want to help you out. And early detection is so important, right? That's why they've got 35 urologists on hand at 16 different locations across the state of Alabama. So if you're listening to us in Huntsville or down here on the coast, there's a location of Urology Centers of Alabama near you. All you have to do is go to urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment. urologycentersalabama.com. Everything from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between with our friends at UCA. urologycentersalabama.com. Back to the Flora-Bama after this.
The NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah and Ryan Brown. DJ Football Weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sales section. For more information, brombergs.com. Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Ryan Brown here for The Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trussville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Looking for the perfect gift for everyone on your Christmas list? This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store, and I invite you to do your Christmas shopping at the New Balance Birmingham store. Everyone needs new shoes this time of year, and they'll want stylish shoes that fit perfectly. At New Balance Birmingham, you'll find the largest selection and inventory for a specialty shoe store. We have every size from extra wide to extra narrow. Shop the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A.
Back with you on the Next Round, getting ready for a big basketball weekend as well. Not only Auburn and Indiana and Alabama and Purdue tomorrow, you've also got Illinois and Tennessee tomorrow, 11 a.m. on CBS. Wisconsin and Arizona. Arizona's the new number 1 team right now. And if I had to stake my bracket challenge, whatever our punishment's going to be on anything, is Arizona in the Final Four.
Wow. And no, in December, you're ready to say that.
Great basketball team.
It's been nice knowing you, Wildcats.
Missouri and Kansas tomorrow as well. Not to mention Auburn and Indiana and Atlanta, Alabama and Purdue and Toronto. So some big basketball coming up tomorrow. And by the way, you Auburn fans, and I know Little T was excited about this. Little T is going to the Auburn USC game, and she'll be representing us because we're going to sort of do a social media takeover that day of Auburn USC basketball down at Neville Arena. Bronny James has been cleared to play. He's been practicing full court. He's going to make his USC debut this Sunday against Long Beach State if everything goes right. Their next game after that is Auburn. So if his debut is not Long Beach State, it'll be December 17th, Auburn Neville Arena. USC's come across the country to play Bruce Pearl's team, and Little T will be there for us at the Next Round.
I was told yesterday by someone at Auburn, 40 scouts have requested credential. 40 scouts from the NBA for that game.
Well,
20 of them will be sitting left of Little T, 20 up to the right of Little T, because she'll be right there in the middle.
Well, and it's more about Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier and Bronny James. It's going to be more about the USC talent and Holloway.
Yeah, no, but
Holloway.
it's great if you're an Auburn player too.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you play games like this if you're Bruce Pearl.
That's right.
Among other reasons.
There
But
may be a little. Oh man, this Janai Broom.
yeah, look at that kid. Yeah,
we've overlooked him. He's putting up numbers right now.
I wonder how good Bronny is too.
I don't know.
You guys?
I got no idea.
Coming off that surgery, I mean, you got to be a little hesitant to sort of get back into it, right?
Oh, I mean, when you've got a cardiac arrest,
yeah.
I mean, I'd be hesitant to do anything.
I know. Bromberg's should give you no hesitation about picking a great gift from those folks this holiday season.
Since 1836, family owned and operated, they are your diamond specialist. You think about popping the question this holiday season, maybe the first of the year. Get in, see them. 2 great locations, Mountain Brook and the Summit. You can always shop online. Check out their vast selection of great gifts for the holiday season. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box. Go to Brombergs.com.
By the way, Little T with another W last night at mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Congratulations to her. Tip of the cap, mybookie.ag. Promo code next round to jump in there. I've already got a play on Army Navy tomorrow. I put that in yesterday in case I got down here and forgot. So I got a little 2-team parlay, a little 2-thing parlay on one game. 2 in-game parlays, a side and a total tomorrow. Army Navy.
Of course you do.
And College Game Day is going to be on site. Did you see who the guest picker is?
The guest picker, I am going to say, because he played Jack Ryan in some of the movies, Harrison Ford is going to be the guest.
I thought you were going to go John Krasinski.
And then he can promote a new season of whatever the Yellowstone prequel is. Is that good?
Yeah, that's a great guess.
But incorrect, I guess.
It's incorrect.
Yes. I have no idea.
This guy you would never expect.
Don Cheadle. Richard Simmons. Charlie Sheen.
Hey, do we know if Richard Simmons is still with us? Rockstar, do you have any ideas Richard Simmons still with us?
There he is. There's no report. He is under. It seems like he's under house arrest with whoever's taking care of him. Like there's no public appearance by Richard Simmons. It's been a long time.
It is Bill Belichick will be the guest picker tomorrow.
Hey, starting center at Navy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Belichick on set after the W last night in Boston, in Foxborough. First time the game's ever been played there.
Wow, did you guys hear that when they were talking on the broadcast? You know, we don't know if Belichick's going to keep coaching. Maybe he goes into broadcasting. Were they hinting at something, and this is kind of like a tryout tomorrow?
They were talking about how he won an Emmy for something I had never seen, something he did with Collinsworth, and they were pointing out that he won an Emmy for it.
That whole sequence, Brown, I just went back to the fact that you guys keep telling me that Al Michaels does not like Kirk Herbstreit. So Al Michaels was bragging about Chris Collinsworth. That whole segment was like, you know, it was such a great show. Belichick and Chris Collinsworth, you know, Collinsworth and Belichick, they won an Emmy.
Yeah, it did.
Now say something dumb, pretty boy.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I thought Al Michaels was saying.
But then he completely kneecapped Greg Olson too. He was like, "I tell you what, if it doesn't work out, he should go in the Fox booth with Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady." I'm like, "Well, freaking Kevin Olson's already in that booth."
Yeah,
Greg Olson.
I am losing so much respect for Al Michaels as this all winds down. Let's do 4 downs, Rockstar. It's brought to you by our friends at Slice.
So we've got some friends that are on their way. I guess they got here late last night, but one of the reasons they got delayed because they stopped at the Lakeview location, the original of Slice. They got some of those great specialty pizzas. The weekend is here. If you're having friends over for Army Navy or you're just hanging out, go pick up some sliced pizza. You can get 2 specialty pizzas, 12 of the fire baked wings, half down. $75. It's a carry-out special 7 days a week. For more information, online, slicebirmingham.com.
All right, let's try that again. We had a little bit of a gremlin.
First down.
First down here, Jim Harbaugh, LT pointed out during the show yesterday, has been offered, or they're in the works, on a 5-year, $11 million a year extension if he stays at Michigan. The only subplot to that is he has to agree not to pursue the NFL during the length of the contract. So I ask you guys this question. Jim Harbaugh signs the 5-year, $11 million deal to stay at Michigan, or he coaches in the NFL next year where, according to reports, 6 different teams have interest in him.
I think he stays in Michigan. It's just the NFL. He's done this before, Lance. He knows you can be one and done in the NFL in a hurry. And this deal Michigan is offering him, $11 million a year. Do you know what the buyout must be on that if they ever want to fire him?
Yeah, I was completely confident that he was going to the NFL when everything with this Spygate Connor Stallions thing was going down, but it just gone so quiet.
Hey, the way they fought for him in that too, if you were his agent, would you try to get that Bill Self type deal? And for those that don't remember, Bill Self basically got a contract that said, unless he murders somebody, and it's got to be at half court so everybody could see the murder, we're not firing him.
So the actual wording was anything before the signature of this contract.
Yeah.
He is not responsible.
That's right. Yeah.
I think
a legal term for it.
Yeah. So basically, something like that.
More so, was it fighting for him or the fact that we haven't won a national championship, a split one, since '97?
Yeah.
And we know if this thing goes sideways, there's a possibility we could have been on the outside. So I wonder if it was really loyalty to Harbaugh. With all that said, I thought he was going to the NFL. I actually think he's going to take this contract and stay.
See, I'll save the graphic then, as they say on game day. I'm going to take Harbaugh to the NFL because he's a Michigan man. He's beaten Ohio State now 3 straight. He's gotten Michigan to 3 straight playoffs, 3 straight Big Ten titles. However it ends this year, he can walk away, I think, as a Michigan man saying, okay, I built this back. I've done my job. And he leaves with no disgrace.
Well,
I think that's why he leaves.
Unless he doesn't want the distraction. Do you guys foresee him signing this contract before the college football playoffs are done? Because the reason I was going to say, if he doesn't, imagine the winner, either Michigan or Alabama, the story going into that national championship on Monday, January 8th is going to be, is this the last collegiate game Nick Saban or Jim Harbaugh will ever coach?
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's do second down.
Second down.
If you missed it yesterday, Jon Rahm gets anywhere, according to reports, between $356 million to $600 million to join LIV. Now, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about this, but my question to you guys is, Jon Rahm, does he win another major? Now, he's excluded. He's in these majors, even though he's joining LIV because he's been such recent winners of them.
Yeah, he's got I don't even know the word I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm trying to say that. But yes, because of his Masters win and his other majors wins, he's locked into all these. And he will be for a long period of time.
Almost a decade.
Yeah, so it's easy for him to do it because he can take the money and still play the majors, which is what some of those guys cannot do now. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Does he win another major?
Yeah, absolutely. Jon Rahm's maybe the best player in the world right now.
The only reason I'm hesitant about
because
this
is he hungry?
Yeah, you're fat, you're happy, you don't play as much.
Well, but Brooks Koepka, it didn't bother him. He won the PGA.
Yeah, I'll lean with Brown because he's 29. I think he's the number 3, at least world rankings for whatever those are worth. I see your point. I wouldn't be surprised if he never wins one. I mean, they're tough to win. You get 4 years.
Yeah, exempt is the word I was looking for. But yes, he will win another major. The guy's too good.
But I guarantee if you would have said, hey, you want the $600 million or never win another one,
He'll take that $600 million.
Yeah. And that's silly money. And there's a story to this, I'll tell you. This LIV PGA Tour merger thing, this deal that was put together, it opened the door first for Rahm to accept this deal because, remember, he was one of the more adamant guys defending the PGA back in the day, right? He and Rory McIlroy and those guys, he was one of the guys up front. And he said many times, I don't play golf on Sundays for money. I'm out here competing against the best players in the world, blah, 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 blah. Well, when they made that merger, they didn't consult Jon Rahm. So they made Rahm and McIlroy and those guys look silly. So I don't blame Rahm for taking this money now.
Well,
he's not speaking out of both sides of his mouth.
And there are a lot of people that speculate the merger can't get through Congress either, that they're going to have some issues on Capitol Hill.
And besides, the PGA Tour now is sort of pulling away from it. They were supposed to have a deal done by December 31st. Nobody thinks that's going to happen. And many people believe the LIV is now using Jon Rahm as a bargaining chip to try to get this deal finally done with them.
So crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. Let's do third down.
Third down.
Colorado head coach Deion Sanders in football says next year the playoffs is not a dream for Colorado. It's the expectations for Colorado to make the college football playoffs. Remember, it's going to 12 teams. They're going to the Big 12. What is a realistic
did he
goal?
Dream this expectation?
I love the attitude, though. I'd rather him say that than say, oh, God, no, we're still 2 years away.
Yeah, but what is a realistic next step for Colorado?
A bowl game?
Yeah, I think a bowl game is a realistic next step. 7-win bowl game,
if this was Deion taking over Texas in their dark days, then we could talk about realistically winning a conference championship. We are still talking about Colorado, one of the more difficult jobs in the Power 5 conferences. And I think to go from 1 win to 4 wins to 6 or 7 wins is And if you get 6 or 7 next year and you got some talent, some good core coming back, then you can start talking about competing for Big 12 championship.
There was a time, though, when they were off to, was it 3-0 start?
Yeah.
That I think we all discussed on the show that, starting next year, they could be in the playoff discussion. And then the wheels came off and we all came back to reality.
1-8, crash into the mountain.
Yeah.
That will do that.
Okay, let's do 4 downs.
Fourth down.
Happy birthday, Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Dwight Howard. Happy birthday, Phillip Rivers. And I think they're all about 41.
Nicki Minaj.
Better career.
Yeah. It would go. I mean, so Dwight Howard finally got a backdoor championship.
Yeah.
I never thought he would get one.
I don't think it counts.
I don't know if you've seen him in the news. He's got some bad PR going on.
Yeah, I don't even count that for him. Phillip Rivers is better than Dwight Howard.
I agree.
So it works. Phillip Rivers is second.
I think you guys forget, though, the number 2 overall pick had Orlando in the finals, basically single-handedly.
Yeah.
I mean, Dwight Howard, I never liked the guy, but he was, for a while, the most dominant, or one of the top 2 or 3 most dominant big men. But I'm going to go Nicki Minaj. That the collaborations, the money she's made is insane.
Yeah, I'll go Minaj, Rivers, Howard.
I'm with
Brad.
Brad.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
Minaj, Rivers, and Howard. And that's our 4 downs today, brought to you by the great folks at Slice. In a new location coming again soon.
Yeah, so Slice, we have not. So 4 locations, the original in Lakeview. There's one in Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, and coming soon, spring of 24, Homewood.
Look out.
How about that? And just down from where that Homewood location will be is our friends, the second location of Odie's. We were by there Wednesday, but always great live music and fun on weekends at Odie.
Yeah, every Friday, Saturday, both locations, they've got the live music, Odie's Tavern. Get in, enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis award-winning wings, delicious burgers. My personal favorite, that Diablo sandwich, the chili I had the other night was fantastic. Stop in, see Will Haver, the great staff, ice-cold beer buckets, full of the Bud Light. It's Odie's Tavern.
All right, top of the hour, live from the Flora-Bama. Santa drop tomorrow, all the Christmas festivities, and the Army-Navy game here on the premise. Live music tonight. Come on to the Flora-Bama whenever you can throughout the year. Up next, Todd Fuhrman from Las Vegas joins the show.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES-1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES-1 today. That's 866-WAYNES-1.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call GutterCapBirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour are not for all ages podcasts like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only air yacht shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the big red building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Part of our Army-Navy week here at the Flora-Bama is being brought to you by the great folks at the University of Montevallo. If you're thinking about a place for your son or daughter to go to school, make it the University of Montevallo. At least get more information by going to montevallo.edu. Montevallo.edu. 23 Division II fully funded scholarship sports and so much more, including a multi-million-dollar theater department, broadcasting school, and everything you need in a great institution. Montevallo.edu.
All right, we're live at the Flora-Bama Army-Navy weekend. They will be packed in this room where we are sitting right now tomorrow, all active duty and retired military from Army, Navy, and enjoying an amazing moment there watching America's game. Todd Fuhrman joins us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline from out in Vegas. What is up, Fuhrman? How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. I actually am packing up myself. I'll head to the first for Army Navy. It'll be the first time for me there tomorrow. So I'm flying into Boston later today. So pretty excited about the college football bucket list to see that game in person.
Wow, that is really cool. I've always wanted to do it. We, for a minute, had an opportunity several years ago. It did not work out. But I'm telling you, man, what we do right here, Fuhrman, at the Flora-Bama, and you may not be familiar with this place. It is a how would you guys describe this? Music venue, bar, massive. I mean,
It's the biggest, best dive bar maybe in the world.
Yeah, and it is built on the Florida-Alabama line, so the name Flora-Bama. And there are several military bases in close proximity here, so you have a lot of retired military and active duty. So they all get together and watch the game. Scott showing some video from the Navy and Army songs at the end of the game last year, if you're watching us. It is a really, really cool deal. They give each other crap for 3 hours, and then at the end of the game, stand and show respect to both sides. It is the best we got to offer, man.
That's awesome. It sounds like quite the secondary experience. If you can't be at the game, no other place that you'd rather be to watch a game of this magnitude take place.
Okay, so you're going to Foxborough tomorrow. That home team played on the road last night at Hines. And what we thought was going to be an awful game, not that it played out aesthetically great. I kind of forced this, I guess. I told these guys yesterday I wanted to play the over. I just couldn't get myself to play the over 30.5, I guess is where it closed, based on how bad these teams have been offensively. I ended up playing the Steelers, got completely bit. How did the books do last night? I would assume that people were it was really difficult to go to the window and try to get a ticket on the over.
Best correlated parlay that the books could have drawn up there. Getting the Patriots not only to cover that game as a 5-point underdog where they close, but also win the game outright, along with the total that you mentioned. And I don't remember a game, especially in prime time, even with the rash of unders that we've seen so far this year, where a number of outlets told me, look, we're seeing 80% of the tickets coming in on the under, and you can understand why the public was so pessimistic about where the points would come from, anyone who'd watched the Patriots the previous 3 weeks. But, you know, my stance on totals that low, especially in the NFL, you need more to go right than to go wrong, whereas when you're going under a total in the high 40s or low 50s, all it takes is a long drive that stalls, resulting in a field goal, and you're sitting in the catbird seat. That game blew up early. Anybody who had an over 30.5 ticket was able to cash that by the break. And the Patriots then in the second half reminded us of the team known for offensive ineptitude over the last 3-4 weeks with 84 yards, 3 first downs, but it was enough for them to get that 21-18 win.
Hey, one of the big games this weekend in the NFL is Philadelphia and Dallas, Eagles and Cowboys on Sunday night. Do the Cowboys finally have a real home field advantage?
It's starting to show a little bit in that regard. Now, there's a lot of noise in some of the numbers that the Cowboys have put forth. They haven't exactly done it against a murderer's row of opposing defenses, but they're doing what you would want a high-flying offense to do, going out there hanging 40 on opponent regardless of record, and being able to play from a positive game script. You look at the recent history between these two familiar foes, and it's really been dominated by the home team in a lot of these matchups. I mean, Dallas hasn't lost in their own building to Philadelphia since 2017. This is a game that'll go a long way, either cementing the NFC East for the Eagles or giving Dallas an opportunity to throw their hat in the ring despite a schedule that gets significantly more difficult down the stretch than what Philadelphia will have to deal with. The problem, Dunaway, is this number before last weekend was Dallas minus 2.5. You've now moved through the key number of 3 out to 3.5, but it is a little bit of buyer beware because you're seeing some public support for Philadelphia here. The number hasn't really trickled back to that 3, but I think this is a fair reflection of where these two teams are, and I have some major reservations about what I've seen, especially on the defensive side from Philadelphia, knowing that the offense hasn't been able to put up points in bunches like they did last year.
Todd Fuhrman is with us, bettheboardpodcast.com to get all the games, bettheboardpodcast.com. And you can follow him on Twitter at Todd Fuhrman, former odds maker at Caesars Palace. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. While we're on the NFL, the odds to win the Super Bowl, San Francisco now a decent favorite, or at least the best odds. How deep in the odds would you go before you're wasting your time? For those that don't know, 49ers, I'm just going to do them in order. 49ers, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins, Cowboys, Lions, Jags. Stop me anytime. How deep would you go in that?
There's one team that you haven't mentioned, and they still have their work cut out for them, but if they get into the AFC playoffs, I don't think anybody would want to see them, and that would, of course, be the Buffalo Bills. Sitting at 6-6 right now, 11th in the AFC pecking order. The Steelers starting to come back to earth. Buffalo's going to have to go out there and earn it with the 5 remaining games that they have in front of them. But at the same time, if you shop around, you can find the Bills at a price of 40-1 or greater. And there's no reason for me to believe if they get into the postseason that they don't have all the pieces capable of making a deep run. When you have elite weapons on offense, you have a quarterback that is a true dual threat as long as he's able to protect the football, and a defense that, while not elite, can get after the passer. So Buffalo would be the team outside the usual suspects that I'd be willing to make a small bet on, just hoping they got into the tournament. And as we know, anything can and often does happen in the NFL.
And it seems like a big weekend for both the Bills, and they're playing in Kansas City against the Chiefs in another big game, and that Kansas City team seems to be taking on some water.
They are, and defensively, that had kind of been their calling card early in the season, but over the last month, they've really struggled in a lot of key efficiency metrics. We've seen them have issues defending the pass, which was one of their strengths coming into the year, and it was the run defense that had been rapidly improving. Now, they are dealing with a rash of injuries. I think some of their health may potentially improve if they get Nick Bolton out there as their green dot linebacker. At the same time, offensively, we keep waiting for Patrick Mahomes and company to get this thing on track, and while Rashee Rice has emerged as a true secondary threat behind Travis Kelce in the offense, this operation hasn't exactly gone the way that Andy Reid and company has figured. When you look at the way this market has moved, Kansas City opened a field goal favorite. Number has come crashing down into that 1.5 range. I'm of the belief you're going to see a little bit of a buy from professional bettors if the number continues to crash. But the move that came in early on Buffalo, very real with the Bills off a bye, another week to do some self-scouting, and you just hope Sean McDermott doesn't say anything else stupid to his team that's rather insensitive and diminishes some of the other things that we've seen over the last 15 to 20 years in American history.
Hey, Fuhrman, these college football semifinal numbers have kind of settled. Michigan 1.5 right now. Total 45.5. I'm looking at Texas 4.5, 63.5. But it looks like the future to win the outright NCAA championship, those numbers look like they've shifted. I mean, Alabama and Michigan are almost dead even at Michigan plus 165, Alabama plus 175. Is there a chance before the Rose Bowl kicks, Alabama is your favorite to win the national championship?
Definitely a possibility. The one thing this time of year, LT, that's always interesting, if books have some liability, any of these 4 teams, they'll have a full month to try and shift those numbers, try and get bets from some of their guys out there, regardless of what the individual games will do. And when you look at the Michigan-Alabama game, we saw Michigan open as a 2.5-point favorite. Not shocking that you've seen support from Alabama. Given how Michigan has performed offensively, For me, I make the game one, want to dig into some of the matchups and see if Michigan can do anything along that offensive line to slow down the Alabama pass rush. But when I look at these four teams, and it's rare to find a little bit of value in the futures market at this point, and you may be able to get more in rolling over a money line, I think Washington, from a matchup standpoint, is going to be difficult for any of the three teams that they'll face, because you look at Texas, and while they do have playmakers offensively, they're not as dynamic as Washington throwing the football. And Michigan and Alabama, much to the chagrin of Wolverines and Tide fans, leave a lot to be desired on that offensive side. And I think there are some major questions that those teams would have to answer if they took on a Washington team that's good on the offensive line, mediocre on defense, but will be more than comfortable to air it out and put both of those secondaries in conflict, should that be the national championship matchup.
Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I hate to even bring it up, but there has been this persistent speculation, and some of it was because of a canceled Orange Bowl press conference, that Florida State was considering boycotting this game. I think it sounds silly on the surface. Is there any chatter in Vegas that this might happen?
Not chatter in Vegas, but if you talk to people close to the Florida State program, there are a lot of concerns about what if this team will go forward with the game. They've had a number of key contributors already declare their intentions to go to the next level. A lot of folks have entered the transfer portal as well. And one of the things that had been bandied about in Florida State's camp from people relatively close to the situation, that they want the players to have the bowl experience. There's no emphasis on the football game, and I'm not sure if it was more satire or anything else that they joked around, maybe go out there, take knees, and turn the Orange Bowl into a mockery for what they felt, everything that unfolded during the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I think cooler heads will prevail. At the same time, from a betting perspective, I wouldn't be running to get involved. I mean, you couldn't tell which coach looked to be more depressed during that initial announcement between Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell. So always difficult to handicap a game like this where both teams probably expected a whole heck of a lot more.
Fuhrman, it's not Iowa, Nebraska, where we saw the total go off at 25.5, but tomorrow's Army-Navy. By the way, it had gone under 16 consecutive years until last year's overtime game, but this total is only 27.5.
And that's the one.
Way over. Oh, you're going over. Way over for Dunaway.
And that's the one thing, guys. I mean, when you look at some of these matchups and some of those over-under trends that are there, you can understand why people have gravitated towards that. But we don't have to go that far back to find the total. Back in December of 2013, this over-under was 49.5. The year after, 55.5. So 27, a far cry from where that is. And again, you need so many things to go right, even in a total this low. Last year, it was overtime that's had this game sneak over the total at 20-17 with a closing number of 32. So the market much more efficient than it's been in the past. And I think some of those historical trends, there's always a little bit of noise in the number. So I'm kind of the same mindset that it's a lean over the total at 27.5, but probably won't be a game that I'm running to bet.
Yeah, and that came through a key number for me when it went 27.5.
20 key number.
I just wanted to use that phrase. Hey,
I figured, Dunaway, I figured you take all your winnings from all those Iowa unders that you were able to cash, going under numbers as low as 24.5 between Iowa and Nebraska, that you would run back on this Navy-Army
He plays multiple parlays every night.
Yeah, I do hit one parlay every night. I don't hit it. I play one every night. I finally hit one the other night. But usually, like last night, I played. There were, I think, seven games I could play on my app, and I played all 7 of them in one parlay. And dang it, I took Iowa against Iowa State, and that was a mistake. It cost me a 17 parlay.
Yeah, you only lost by 30
I wanted to ask you about the FCS playoffs before you go, because for college football fans, it's some interesting football. But weather seems to be a factor. Montana at home tonight, night game, 8 o'clock Central Time against Furman, a Southern team. Snow during the day in Montana, freezing temperatures. Tomorrow, South Dakota State, who's won 26 straight, outdoor team playing Villanova, and it's a 3-touchdown game. Do you factor weather into those games?
It does play a role when you're looking at some of these dynamics, and the Dakotas have kind of been the hotbed for FCS football over the last handful of years. You look at what's going on there. For folks looking at the Idaho forecast, by the way, it's indoors at the Kibbe Dome, so don't look for weather forecasts there between the Albany-Idaho showdown. But the other games, no doubt, for teams that aren't used to playing in those kind of elements, you'll see the market respond accordingly. But remember, when you're looking at the totals market, even in frigid temperatures, if there's no wind and there's not noticeable snow accumulation, buyer beware, because we saw a playoff game last year with Montana State where the total continued to get bet down because it was freezing temperatures. I think Montana State scored on nearly every single drive offensively in that kind of game. And when you look at Fuhrman tonight, their key will be slowing down this Montana offense in Missoula. 17.5, though, don't see a whole heck of a lot. I do anticipate, though, we will see some under money come in with this total maybe closing a shade less than 44.5 where it sits now.
Fuhrman, enjoy Army-Navy. That is really cool you're getting to do that. I can't wait to talk to you next week to find out what it was like in person. It is a bucket list for a lot of people, so that's pretty awesome.
Send us some pictures, man. We want to see them.
I will do what I can, and I can promise you, Dunaway, there will be no 17 parlay that I can send you a picture of as well. Hopefully just some of the pomp and pageantry around the game. Gentlemen, enjoy your time down there in the Flora-Bama shore, and look forward to chatting about some upcoming bowl games this time next week.
All right, buddy. Take care. Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com, at Todd Fuhrman on Twitter. He joined us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Great time to head up there. I think Nick's going to be down here, right? Is he coming down for the game? Last time I heard Nick was coming down. Nick Johnston and the great family there.
I need to check in with
Nick.
Nick.
Check in with Nick because great family there, man. And they do amazing work at Johnston RV Center. And you guys have responded so well. They went to the Forest River Expo. They picked out a bunch of new floor plans. And those are starting to arrive. They got to make room for them, but you've responded so well to the advertising. They have got a ton of previously owned. So they got to clear all of that out to make room for the new stuff that is coming in. And you're the beneficiary. You're going to get great deals. Now, you're still going to get good deals on the new stuff as well, as low as $179 a month, but great deals on previously owned. And you do not have to sacrifice warranty on these now. Lifetime warranty on anything that is 2 years or younger, previously owned. You can see all of it either by going to I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online at johnstonrvcenter.com.
Some developing news involving the Alabama coaching staff right after LT tells us about our friends at Hemphill Services as well.
Yeah, get that $69 fall tune-up right now from our friends at Hemphill Services. All you got to do is call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the team there, and they are going to hook you up with that. It's hard to stop a train. The name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Hard to stop a train. Call them today, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Alabama assistant. He does special teams and linebackers. Coleman Hutzler is on his way to Mississippi State. He's officially now the new defensive coordinator and inside linebacker coach there at State.
Well, as we said when this story broke just the other day, they've got an army of analysts. I mean, you know, we pointed out the fact that Charlie Strong is still an analyst with Alabama, as difficult as that might be to believe with a guy with his coaching resume. So I don't anticipate this interrupting Alabama at all. But I think the guy's done a good job. You look at those two position groups, special teams, by and large, been pretty good, right? Burnip, for the most part, he's had some yips of late.
Right.
And I guess Reichert has, by his standards, had some yips of late, but that's the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. So, I mean, I think that guy's done a pretty good job at his two position groups.
And I think a good chef would tell you you're always a better cook when you got great ingredients.
No doubt about it. And he's got that.
So that's a little interesting tidbit there for you Alabama fans as the Tide gets ready to start preparation for Michigan. We'll talk more about those semifinal games and other bowls. And let's jump more back into the Florida State buzz that's out there about that when we come back to the Flora-Bama down here. Tell them why we're here, LT. The Flora-Bama, I mean, this is a big event. And it's not just about Army-Navy tomorrow. There's also another big event tomorrow.
The Santa drop. So we were here, I guess the first time we went to an Army-Navy was
last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
Seems longer ago, doesn't
I
it?
know.
Yeah. This was 1 year ago yesterday when Baker Mayfield led the Rams to a fourth quarter comeback against the Raiders.
Of course.
How could we forget that?
I saw that special last night. They interrupted programming at exactly 8 after the hour.
But here at the world-famous Flora-Bama, they are kicking off the Christmas holidays with their annual Santa drop. Look, it is absolutely free beginning at 11 o'clock prior to Santa's arrival at 12:30. They're going to have kid crafts. You're seeing it right now. Scotty's showing it to you. Games, live music featuring holiday tunes for all of the kids, face painting, juice, treats. Best of all, it is all free. Santa will drop right here on the beach, as he always does, at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be quite the scene. If you are in the area, we'd love to meet you. We'd love for you to come by, have a bushwhacker, get ready for the holidays, a little Santa drop, and then Army-Navy. And Army-Navy is going to be right here where we are in the main room, pregame with the next round starting at 11 o'clock. 2 free drink cards for any active or retired military, raffles throughout the game. Don't miss that Army-Navy push-up contest where dude had 3,137 push-ups in 60 seconds last year. It was crazy.
11:30 to 12:30 with our video show, and we'll go a little longer because at the end of that, much like the Macy's parade, the Santa drop will happen at 12:30. So we'll carry that live for those that cannot make it down here, weather permitting. So there you go. That's the Flora-Bama this weekend. Back to the you may have heard Brown's question and said, wait, what's this happening about Florida State? Okay, we'll talk about that when we come back to the Flora-Bama on the next round.
All the SEC with our all-SEC analyst, Roman Harper. Thursdays at 9:25.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The next round golf cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in Cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Looking for the perfect gift for everyone on your Christmas list? This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store, and I invite you to do your Christmas shopping at the New Balance Birmingham store. Everyone needs new shoes this time of year, and they'll want stylish shoes that fit perfectly. At New Balance Birmingham, you'll find the largest selection and inventory for a specialty shoe store. We have every size from extra wide to extra narrow. Shop the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A.
What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Back with you at the Flora-Bama. Just met a nice, I guess, family and friends from Australia.
From Perth, Australia. And I was asking the dude, he works in the bush. He does some surveying. You're such a child.
You're saying you got to work somewhere.
So, but I was asking him, I was like, man, you know that we always talk about Australia and like you guys have so many different things that can kill you. I said, what is more hazardous for you? Is it the snakes? Is it the spiders, sharks, crocodiles? He said, by far the crocodiles. He's like, everybody's scared to death. He's like, they're so sneaky, so elusive, so aggressive. I said, do you know anybody that's ever been taken down? He was like, no, but I know I've got a lot of friends that have people they know that have been eaten by crocodiles.
He was saying that a lot of people around just want to listen to them talk because of their accent.
I hate their accent.
Oh, wow. And he said
They have left the room.
Yeah, they have left the room.
But it's like an English accent is awesome.
Right.
It's like a dirty English accent.
Okay. But he said people just like to hear them talk, and he's like, it sounds normal to me. You guys sound strange to me. And Rockstar, I know it's kind of a deep thought, but I always wonder what we sound like to other nationalities. Do you ever wonder something like that, Rockstar?
Well, yes, but I can't really. It's hard to. I've never seen an American person except something like this. I don't know. Really, somebody doing a mocking an American impression because you have so many dialects in Southern and Northern and Boston, Chicago.
I mean, it's like the setup of Europe. You've got so many dialects throughout that country.
Yeah,
right.
And and obviously Australia broke off from the original England, like most did. But it's just people either. I think it's one of these. I think it is a polarizing accent.
Well,
I think it's either you love it or you don't.
RTD4 won't stand away to do his Australian accent. You just heard a guy from Perth.
Dunaway was telling the guy that the girls go crazy over the Australian accent.
He's like, I'm glad my wife's not here.
My wife loves any foreign accent.
Yeah.
Loves it, except for German, which she's of German descent.
Right. It sounds so angry.
Yeah, everything's angry.
It is. You can say anything in German, it sounds angry.
So really, it's irony that I've got her to even go on a date with me because I barely speak English. I don't know if I got a pip governor. I got an English one.
Yeah. Oh, that was spot on too. Yeah.
I do not think I have an Australian one.
I thought
you know what?
No, is that Scottish where you bob your head? Do Scottish.
Yeah.
Pirates.
We got to go.
Around.
We got to go.
We got to go drink some whiskey.
Rockstar, what?
They were more rum.
Rockstar, what's the one he does where he bobs his head like that? What
he does Good Day Bait. He does. Life is like a bowl of curry. He bobbed his head for that.
Yes, that was his best part. Life is like a bowl of curry.
Life is like a bowl of curry.
Life is like a bowl of curry. Yeah. Let's say that was off of if we were doing Forrest Gump, but it was being remade by Indian and Pakistani.
That's right. Yeah. Life is like a bowl of curry.
Speaking of interesting dialects, the other night, Rockstar, do you remember a Blaze skit you did like 15 years ago?
Blaze the Dragon?
Yeah.
People weren't excited about it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he phoned you guys in, didn't he? Y'all had access to his cell phone, I think.
I met the real Blaze that was actually Blaze during that the other
he
night.
was the mascot of that thing.
He was at Tex in the City.
Did he remember it?
He didn't bring that up, but after he walked off, I brought it up to Maddie.
It's always a good day when we go to New York Butcher.
Thank God. Yeah, the New York Butcher Shop, Dunaway, a great place to get those steaks, whether it's date night, you're throwing a holiday party. How about steaks for Christmas Eve? Any of these things you can get from our friend Jim and the fine folks at the New York Butcher Shop. One-stop shop. Pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. They've got great, perfect dinner-to-go sides, prepared entrees with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Cobb Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
John on Twitter at Next Round Live. Here we go! Exclamation point. They've got the bushwhacker.
Yeah.
Cheers, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. The consistent thing of all consistent things.
It turned quick when that bushwhacker showed up.
It just, the taste is perfect. It's perfectly made. They've got all the elves underneath in the bowels of the Flora-Bama. We've seen how the sausage is made here.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, man.
All right, got a little brain freeze there. I sucked on that one a little too hard.
Yeah, you did. You want me to set up Florida State story while you get rid of the brain freeze?
Let's get into the Florida State story, Brown.
Okay. So let me just warn people saying press conferences get canceled for all kinds of different reasons. Like when a coach is about to get fired, you see the story of a press conference get scheduled, or it was canceled, or there was a press conference and it had already been scheduled, or so a lot of people read into that. There was an Orange Bowl press conference that was supposed to happen and it got canceled. And there had already been this undercurrent of the Florida State players being upset and fans talking about a boycott. Well, when that press conference got canceled, for a lot of people, that speculation went into warp speed. They started putting 2 and 2 together and saying, They don't want this to get out in the press. Everybody's trying to get cooler heads. Fuhrman gave it a little bit more credence than I really thought Todd would from what he had heard kind of in the gambling circles there and from the people at Tallahassee or around the Florida State program. I would be very, very surprised if Mike Norvell allows this to happen.
I would agree, too. I think he's handled this with class. Outside of the immediate reaction, which we all understood he was going to be disgusted. He was going to say a lot of things off the cuff. He walked it back a little bit. He showed respect for the Orange Bowl. He said, look, I want to talk about the Orange Bowl, Kirby Smart, Georgia, our opponent. I would be blown away, too. The first person I heard talk about the boycott of the game, you'll be shocked, was Danny Cannell. And when I heard him talk about it, I was laughing. I was like, there is no way you can take your ball and go home. And what does this say for a program that Mike Norvell has done such a great pivot job, a 180, and bringing them back to knocking on the door of a college football playoff? If you tell your guys, we didn't get our way in a subjective committee, and now we're not going to play, and we're not only going to hurt guys that have been on this team, hurt our fan base, but what about Georgia? There are other guys, the guys that aren't going to play in the NFL, they're going to play in their last game.
But the bottom line is twofold. One, you have ESPN as the broadcast partner.
That's right.
And they feel like that it was some kind of conspiracy to get great ratings for ESPN to put Alabama in this thing. Alabama is part of the SEC. The SEC and ESPN's in bed moving forward. So it would be a way to hurt ESPN and the broadcast partners. And the other thing is that if they don't play the game, they can't lose the game.
That is true. They're still undefeated.
Right.
Yep. Undefeated, potentially uncrowned, but undefeated.
If you play the game
and
you get your ass whooped, a lot of people aren't going to sit there and say, committee probably was right or wrong.
Yeah.
So you're saying, we stand on our business. We stand on business.
We stand on business.
That's right. We've done
our
it.
schedule.
Yep. You've seen us.
No playoffs.
Yep.
No game. Is what some of them are saying, but they're losing. Johnny Wilson is opting out. He's done.
No, I get you're going to get a lot of that, but would you not give me that these ratings are going to be outside of the semifinals? These will probably be your highest rated game based on the fact that you have a defending national champion and you've got such controversy with
the storyline.
And everybody wants to see, and now you've got this storyline. Well, they decided to play. They're rallying together.
Yeah.
But people want to see what this team's all about.
No, I agree with you, Lance. I think outside the playoffs, this one has potential, assuming the game is any good. And who knows at this point, because like Fuhrman said, even Georgia's not happy to be here. Now, they're not talking about opting out of it. But it would be, again, I don't think this would come from Mike Norvell. And in fact, I think, Mike Norvell would do the right thing and gather together, as many players as he could to go play the game. But it is just an awful, awful lesson to say you didn't get your way in life. Let's quit and go home. That is a horrible life lesson to teach anybody.
Now, you mentioned this, you really can't say the committee got it right or wrong by the outcome of that game.
I don't think Florida State should be judged good or bad. Like if they win this game, you don't know what Georgia's investment was. I don't think that means they should be national champion. Likewise, if they get beat by 30, I hope nobody says, see, Florida State didn't go home. They got beat by 30.
And they're going to get a split national championship.
I don't
they
know.
are. But Johnny Wilson's opting out. Patrick Payton entered the portal a few days ago. 6 sacks this year from Payton. Big defensive end there for Florida State. So they're not going to be a whole team if they go play.
No, I get that.
But that happens to a lot of teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they have team meetings and they decide as a team we're not going to play in this game, if I'm Mike Norvell, and this might be a little dramatic, but I would say if you guys want to be a Florida State Seminole, you will be in uniform and you will play in this game. Or if not, you know what? I built this thing up from where it was a disaster, and we'll just have to do it again. But if you're buying into what we're trying to accomplish here, this is where it starts.
Well, because Mike Norvell will be there next year and the year after, we expect.
Oh, he'll get a big contract on this.
Florida State defensive coordinator Adam Fuller was being courted by Texas A&M to be Mike Elko's defensive coordinator. He signed yesterday a 3-year deal to stay at Florida State.
Yeah.
These guys are building something. Though they didn't make the playoffs, playing in the Orange Bowl is part of the next progression of what Mike Norvell and his staff are building at Florida State. This would set them back if they don't play in this game, if they boycott this game. Plus, if I'm in the future, if I'm the Orange Bowl or New Year's Six Bowl, and it's down deciding on something, I may not want Florida State. I say no, thank you, Florida State.
Well, and if they want to do something and protest, rip the patch off or whatever, I'm okay with that. Play the dang game though. You don't take your ball and go home in this situation. And
one thing Fuhrman mentioned was play the game, but only take knees.
That's just stupid. And Fuhrman's not saying they should do that, for the record. He's saying that was reportedly rumors. One of the things they were considering is play the game, but just take knees. That would just be absolutely.
Well, if they do, let me know, because I'm going to take obviously that team total under, and then I am going to take the under, and then I'm going to take the other side.
Yeah, you're burning clock every time, Lance. They keep burning clock, so Georgia has limited possessions at that point.
Yeah, but I feel like Georgia's going to score twice.
Yeah.
Give me the cover. I know Florida State's not going to score. Give me the under on the team totals.
I mean, if they want to do something, in protest, that's fine, but go play the game. Don't set the precedent. Don't teach that lesson to people. If you're a Florida State player, there are a lot of people that look up to you.
Well,
and you're teaching them the lesson that I didn't get my way, so I'm going to take my ball and go home. It's an awful lesson to teach.
Would want the challenge of playing the two-time defending national champions, playing the SEC that got in over us, and I would want to show that we have maybe the best defense in all of college football. Everybody's talking about Michigan. Everybody's talking about Alabama. Everybody's talking about Georgia. Fact of the matter is, do you know the last time somebody scored over 20 points against Florida State?
Was it LSU?
It was Clemson in overtime.
Yeah.
September 23rd. Yeah. That's the last time somebody scored over 20 points against this team.
Karen says, again, this shows ACC leadership is not great. Greg Sankey would squash this in a day if this started to come up.
Well, Nick Saban would squash.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it would get to Sankey. I think, and I'm not saying Norvell would, and who knows if this is even a real thing, but there's just been so much speculation about it. I don't think Norvell would be leading this charge either. I think Mike Norvell is a good enough football coach that he realizes the lesson he's needing to teach his team out of this, right? How do you handle disappointment? You're going to handle disappointment in life. You're going to handle it in future football seasons. What do you do with disappointment? Do you just fold up the tent and say, I'm going to quit? Or do you go out and prove? Because even though I'm saying you shouldn't judge Florida State on either outcome, Jim, I know Mike Norvell is preaching to his team right now. Let's go prove that they got it wrong. Let's go beat that Georgia team they thought was number one. Let's beat them by 21 points. Let's make our mark. And I know Mike Norvell's telling his team that because that's the kind of coach Mike Norvell has shown to be.
A show being brought to you in part by our friends at Pants Store, pantstore.com. 6 great locations if you want to swing by there. Auburn, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, Leeds, and Tuscaloosa. But even here at the Flora-Bama or anywhere in the country, you can get great Alabama and Auburn gear by going online at pantstore.com, pantstore.com. That includes all your game day polos, hats, and quarter zips. Great name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Elephant Head, and Taylor and Mick, and all the ladies' gear as well. It's our friends at the Pants Store, pantstore.com, pantstore.com. We've got the announcing team for Alabama's semifinal game out at the Rose Bowl. It'll be the main crew. It'll be Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, and Laura Rutledge on the sideline. So you get the number one crew.
Yeah, they always, if I remember right, they always do that New Year's Day game day from the field at the Rose Bowl. It's too early to do it outside. You don't have people there yet, and the sun will rise while they're out there. But so the game day crew will be there as well. So it makes sense that they're going to leave Herbstreit there to do the game.
Yeah, so they had their choice to whether they would do the Sugar, Washington, and Texas, or the other one. They're usually a Rose Bowl. In fact, the press box is named after Herbstreit there.
The TV booth. The TV booth is, yeah.
At the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, because I think he's done. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was named after Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson's
make more sense.
Box.
Yeah. Keith Jackson's the full press box, and Herbstreit's the TV booth, because I do think Herbstreit has been the analyst on more Rose Bowls than anybody in history, Lance, which is why.
What is the shitty chain link fence on the east side of the stadium named after?
Barry Alvarez.
Yeah, I was up on against that.
Were you?
And looking over at the carnival atmosphere behind me. That's what's so misleading about the Rose Bowl. Like, if you're in there looking at the mountains, you're like, this is amazing. You watch on TV, you're like, this is Augusta. And then if you're actually there and you're in the bowels of, going through the portals, going to the bathroom, going to get a concession, if you look out back, there is a carnival element to it.
Herb Street has called more Rose Bowls than any other analyst in the national broadcast booth at the iconic Rose Bowl Stadium is the Kirk Herbstreit broadcast.
Well, I mean, if they name the booth after you, you can't very well say, yeah, I'm going to go do the Sugar Bowl. I'm going to go do Washington,
That's right.
Texas.
Fowler, you do whatever game you want.
That's right.
I'll be kicking my feet up right at Kirk Herbstreit broadcast booth.
There was a time I think the approval rating on Herbstreit with college football fans was like 95%, and that dude has become polarizing.
Who, Herbstreit?
Yeah. Like, I am surprised at how many different people just aren't fans. And I
don't get it. I like it.
I think he's great. Yeah, I think he does a really good job. I mean, look, you've got to have, and I think he tries a little too hard to be anti-Ohio State at times. And
well, he's in a no-win situation.
Yeah, he is. But I think people have to understand, look, you try to be objective, but he played at Ohio State. That's tough.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to say this is the whole reason, but Jim, I mean, he moved to Nashville, and a lot of people were speculating it's because he was trying to get out of that Columbus, Ohio area because of the Ohio State fans.
Because they were being rough on him.
Yeah.
He got to be roughing the kids.
He could never do enough. He could never do enough for Ohio State.
I don't know if he's back there or not now.
No, I think he's in Nashville.
No, he's still in Nashville.
Yeah.
Sure?
I'm pretty certain.
I thought he had moved back to the area. Maybe I'm
He
wrong.
could be in both places.
Army-Navy tomorrow at 2 o'clock. By the way, it'll be the 4th Commander-in-Chief trophy since 2017. If Army wins the game tomorrow, it'll be a split if Navy pulls the upset. And it would stay the Commander-in-Chief trophy with Air Force, who had it last year because it would be a 1-1 tie between the three institutions there. College Game Day will be on site. Bill Belichick will be the guest picker in that College Game Day. They're in Boston, Foxborough, the first time it's been played in Foxborough. And by the way, I was right.
Of course.
It had to do with the Tea Party while they're playing there. It's the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party.
Well, you know, they're doing that. Is it Fox News? They're doing kind of a documentary hosted by Rob Lowe on the Boston Tea Party, which looks pretty interesting because that obviously is a very important moment in American history. But, you know, in the 124 years they played this game, this is only the third time they've gone out of the Mid-Atlantic region. They've played 2 other games away from the Mid-Atlantic region. Do you guys know where they played these games?
Well, they played them 90 times in Philadelphia. So out of 124, that's the most locations. So 2 times out of the Mid-Atlantic region.
Did they play one in San Antonio? Am I wrong about that?
You're wrong about that.
Is New York Mid-Atlantic?
No, New York is not Mid-Atlantic.
So New York.
Nope.
Okay.
In 1926, they played it in Chicago.
Okay.
Very patriotic town. And in 1983, I do not remember this, they played it in the Rose Bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, Pasadena.
There had been talk of playing it in San Diego before and in Dallas.
I think it travels anywhere.
I do, but for some reason, I said this, I like it in that cold weather. I like it in Philadelphia at the Meadowlands. I don't know. I'll see it in Foxborough and see if I like it. But I think Philadelphia, to me, seems like the best place for
But
it.
they have played it in MetLife.
Yeah, they played it in New York City. Yeah.
Yeah, and I look coming
Philly,
up
DC.
for us. I think Philly and Baltimore are coming up. So I am willing to go anytime you guys want to go because I think it is a bucket list event.
We'll continue our college football conversation, including 2 coaches that may surprise you as they went against the grain on the Florida State selection into the college football playoffs. We had Gus Malzahn yesterday saying he thought it was a travesty. 2 other coaches jump in on their reaction to Florida State being out of the college football playoffs. That's when we come back to the Flora-Bama, the show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Hydra Live, LT.
Our friends at Hydra Live want to remind you a great stocking stuffer is one of the gift cards from Hydra Live.
Well, and, you know, as I sit here and start my drinking today, is there a Hydra Live in the area? I may need one tomorrow morning. Remember last year I got technically overserved?
I do remember that. Yep, I do.
Yeah, I don't think we have a legitimate Hydra Live. There might be some kind of knockoff box around here. But we should have gotten Nurse Lacey to come by yesterday, get really hydrated before we came down. But you've got the opportunity to do that wherever you're listening to us. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. They're open 7 days a week. But if you can't make it to Hydra Live, they can send a nurse to you. For more information, HydraLiveTherapy.com. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Hydra Live Therapy. Very important here that you mention Next Round at checkout. You're going to get 20% off any of those great services from our friends at Hydra Live.
Did you put a floater in mine?
I did not. She asked, and I was like, dude, he'll be a complete train wreck if we put a floater on his.
You're in charge of me today. Don't let me be a train wreck. All right, we're back in a second.
You don't want that job.
Two coaches going against the grain, and they thought Florida State should have been in. These two guys surprised me a little bit. That's next on the next round.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trussville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Back with you at the Flora-Bama. Before I tell you about our friends at Wayne's, a couple of things we'll be doing, not live on our platforms, but for later release. Once we're done here, a mystery 5th hour, and the subject today is going to be what?
Music here at the Flora-Bama. So our buddy Steve Powers, who is the director of entertainment, that is actually his title here, is always a great host for us. He's the guy that books all the musical acts, just takes care of everything like idiots like us that come do the shows. So, and also runs their streaming station that we listen to on the golf course a lot, Flora-Bama Radio. So we'll talk about music of the Flora-Bama, and I've challenged him to come up with some good stories about musicians they've booked, like maybe some behind-the-scenes stories. I've heard some. I don't know what he can and cannot share, but hopefully he could share some stuff he's told us privately.
I heard a story about Kenny Stabler and a certain musician that ended up becoming friendly and having a little time together. You guys ever heard that story?
I have, yes. Did that start here?
Yeah.
Hey, do you like?
It was in this parking lot.
Oh yeah, well, probably. Hey, probably the biggest name artist that has the best connection with the Flora-Bama is Kenny Chesney.
Yeah, I mean, you see it right now. No Shoes Nation.
Yep, I'm looking at the banner over there over the bar, the No Shoes Nation banner. I heard a cool story about him. I don't know if you guys like Kenny Chesney. I'm going to confess I've never been a huge fan of his music for the most part.
Oh, I love it.
This is a cool story though from Kenny Chesney. I think you guys will like. One of his tours, he booked Taylor Swift to be his opener.
Right.
And the tour was then sponsored by one of the beer companies. I'm not sure if it was Bud Light or who.
Yep. She was a teenager.
And she was 17. So she couldn't do the tour. So she had to back out. And she had already gone through all the preparations and all that. He felt so bad for her when the tour was over. One day she goes to her mailbox and opens the mail, and there's a handwritten letter from Kenny Chesney with a check in the mail for what she would have made on the tour.
Fantastic.
And she said it was the biggest check she had ever gotten to that point, and that it covered all of her band costs that they would have gotten and everything.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
I guarantee
that's top level.
That check wasn't as big as the check that Bud Light or whoever was getting.
No, it wasn't.
Because he would have said, you know what, we can find another title sponsor. Let's keep you performing out there.
But you know what? He didn't have to do that either.
He did not. He did not. And I'm sure at some point now Taylor has written him back maybe a hand note and a check saying, this is what I made half a concert last night.
That's right.
Well, you think in the illustrious history of this great venue, I think the most crowded, most volume they've ever had, and this is with all of the mullet tossed out there, it was when Kenny Chesney performed. And I've seen the aerial pictures.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
Our friends at Wayne's, we got a special guest here with us today, by the way. I would ask him to come up, but we've got a bad history. I'll tell you about him here.
And he's drinking a Bushwhacker.
Our friends at Wayne's want to help you this holiday season, pest-free holiday. If you go to their website, callwaynes.com, callwaynes.com, or you call them up, 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1. It gets cold outside. The rodents want to come inside. It's just another layer of protection you get from our friends at Wayne's. They've been doing it for over 50 years. Let them protect your home, or maybe save a little money right now by going to callwaynes.com and get $50 off the reoccurring costs right now. Proud member of the University of Montevallo Hall of Fame, and he's a big booster. He's also a big friend of UAB athletics. But he's also, if I remember correctly, you were the Bob Chapman's here. You were on the very first University of Montevallo basketball team. Am I right about that?
Club team.
Club team.
Okay.
But you basically started Montevallo basketball. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's.
I don't want to stereotype, but you were a point guard, right?
Yeah. Okay. Brown's saying you're not 7 feet.
Well, I mean, he didn't play the post, I don't think. Yeah.
But he is in the Hall of Fame, and he went in with our buddy Chris Stewart on the same night. Class of 20.
The Hall of Fame class?
The Hall of Fame class? 2021, maybe. So.
Thought you were going to ask him his high school class.
No, but I think you were back in the early 60s, I believe, at Montevallo. Yeah.
63.
All right. Well, thank you for being here and everything you do at not only my school, Montevallo, but also UAB as well. We're big fans of them. And Bob is part of the folks who have made it out here today at the Flora-Bama. Very nice to him to take a little time to share a breakfast bushwhacker with us. Hey, that's what vacation's for, right? Yeah, a little early bushwhacker. I got one too. Okay, 2 coaches yesterday surprised me. They were both not happy about Florida State being included.
Are they ACC coaches?
One of them was Eli Drinkwitz of the SEC.
I saw this. I was a little surprised. By the way, Missouri, are they on Alabama's schedule next year, Jim?
They are.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
They are.
All right.
And Eli Drinkwitz will be the coach there.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Wow.
So Eli Drinkwitz says that, he basically says that it was because of one player. He didn't think it should be decided because of that. He didn't like that they were left out. And he went on to a scenario. He was like, if another playoff team right now gets a player hurt in practice leading into the game, we're going to kick them out and replace them with Florida State.
That's an interesting point. But you're judging that team, how whole they are at that point when you put them in. You know what's interesting is I watched every minute of that LSU-Missouri game. And it took 22 fourth-quarter points for LSU to win that game, including a late pick six where the score was deceiving if you didn't watch it. But if they would have won that game, they go 11-1 in the regular season, 1 loss at Georgia. In a lot of seasons, they would have maybe gotten in a college football playoff.
Yeah, and definitely, even with 2 losses, would be there next year with a 12 team. So Eli Drinkwitz, SEC guy, surprises me. The more surprising one was Alabama graduate Dabo Swinney, who said it was not the right decision and called the system flawed.
Well, but
I can get that. I mean,
but,
he's
yeah.
got to fly the flag of the ACC.
Yeah, and that's his drafting partner to get out of the ACC too, right?
Yeah.
Florida State. So it feels like those two have a little more connection than a lot of ACC schools because of that.
Interesting you brought this up because we haven't had this scenario. If it was Clemson that went undefeated, are they in?
Why would they not be?
Is their quarterback healthy?
No. Same situation, but it's Clemson.
I would.
You're saying
I just
Clemson
say
because two-time national
more of a
champion.
brand.
Yeah, Clemson is, and what's crazy is they become a bigger brand than Florida State. But I don't know if Clemson gets left out undefeated.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's a flawed system.
And I think that's probably not only as Brown said, well, they got to fly the flag of the ACC. It's a drafting partner to possibly get out of there. But you also have to put yourself in that situation. And I guarantee you that ran through Dabo's mind. Damn, if we would have gone undefeated, do we get shut?
Our friends at Hemphill bringing you our conversation in the next segment with a friend that we met up at Ocean City on one of our summer trips.
Biggest pool I've ever had.
I mean, this was amazing by Lance. So we're doing our show poolside, and this family shows up, and they're all wearing Army basketball gear, and Lance, little kid and wife, and Lance was like, I bet their dad is the Army head basketball coach. I'm like, Lance, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. And
We're
Lance,
in Ocean City, Maryland.
We're in Ocean City, Maryland. And Lance would not let it go. No, I guarantee you, I'm going to go ask him. So the guy shows up, and Lance walks over, and sure enough, it's Kevin Kuwik, the head basketball coach at Army. So we talk him into coming over on the show.
Interrupted his
vacation.
vacation.
Oh, look, Scotty's got video of this. So we interrupt his vacation. We're in Ocean City. He comes over.
Trip that was.
It was wild. He comes over, joins us on the show. Could not have been a more gracious, nicer person. And did an interview with us, so we just all became fans. So we thought with Army-Navy coming up, Coach would jump on the phone with us. I did not realize we're bothering him on a game day, but he is so kind that he's going to give us his time today.
Yeah, I guess he's in Boston right now. They're preparing to take on Harvard tonight, 6:00 tip time. I've taken a look at that game. I need to ask him how he feels about it. He's catching 12 and a half.
So not only did we interrupt his vacation,
That's all right.
Now we're interrupting him on a game day.
Correct, yes.
And he's going to join us when we come back
Well,
live to the
We'll know if he ever joins us again. If they win, if they pull off the double-digit upset.
So we'll talk to Kevin coming up a little bit about what Army-Navy's like all over campus during that game week. We're here at the Flora-Bama, the show being brought to you by our friends at Hemphill.
Hemphill Services wants to remind you, make sure your unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. $69 fall tune-up. All you got to do is call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Back to the Flora-Bama on the next round after this.
With the SEC Network's Peter Burns and Ryan Brown weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality, service, and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got two great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 in Hoover with walk-ons.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES-1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES-1 today. That's 866-WAYNES-1.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy Credit Card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR annual percentage rate. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hey, we'll talk a little Army-Navy here in a second as we're back live at the Flora-Bama LTD and be with you, all the great folks back there, part of Disrupt Media in our Birmingham studios, including Rockstar and Forrester and Tyler in Lunsford. Number 12 is back there working hard after a long week with the high school finals going on. And, of course, the one and only Taylor Korn and Emily Grace McWhorter out there in the command center handling everything social media for us at Next Round Live. The show being brought to you in part today by I don't know about you guys. Sometimes life moves fast and we just grow too big, and I like it the way it used to be. And finally, we've got a sports department in our area that takes it back to sort of like the neighborhood sports store that I had when I was growing up. And it's a great brand. It's called Bandwagon.
Bandwagonsports.com to see more. Bandwagonsports.com. They've got right now the Marucci Cat X bat, reshaped barrel profile, wider sweet spot. Even Dunaway could get out you could probably grind out a base knock with this one.
I just had to go with the old wood Louisville Slugger. Now they got the what?
It's the Marucci Cat X, Dunaway.
Oh, I could hit
it's
top of the line.
For those so weird. You know how something spurs a dream?
Yeah.
I went 2 for 4 last night.
Did you? Who were you playing for?
I don't remember. I just remember playing
the Mudcats.
games.
I bet you're in the Mudcats organization.
I had a single and a double.
If Santa wants to leave a bat, glove, baseball, basketball, pickleball paddle under the tree, Bandwagon is the place Santa needs to go. Not just sporting goods, but lifestyle and athleisure too. I'd say it all the time. Your local schools, you love to wear the logo, but you don't wear crappy clothing. They take that out of the equation. They've got that great athleisure, and you get the local schools on there. Next Round listeners, time to jump on the bandwagon, bandwagonsports.com.
If you want some outdoor football tonight, Furman and Montana play in the FCS playoffs, outdoors in Missoula, 8 o'clock ESPN2. Tomorrow morning after college game day, 11 a.m. on ESPN, outdoor game, Villanova and number 1 South Dakota State. 26-game win streak for South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits there. The other 2 games tomorrow are in domes. North Dakota State, South Dakota in the Dakota Dome, and University of Albany and Idaho in the Kibbe Dome. All those on the ESPN platforms tomorrow. We'll talk to Kevin Kuwik, the Army basketball coach, in just a second. Walter Nolan is a big transfer who's leaving Texas A&M. Alabama fans have sort of had fingers crossed that maybe he'll end up in the portal coming to Alabama. He is taking a visit this weekend, not to SEC country, just with a former SEC defensive coordinator. Walter Nolan is visiting Oregon this weekend. Walter Nolan to Oregon this weekend. See if he likes that place.
I mean, not a bad spot to go, right? I don't think they're going anywhere. Do you?
Well, I think what Dan Lanning realizes, being in the SEC, is now that they're going to the Big Ten, they're going to have to play SEC-like football. And he already started building both the offensive and defensive lines. And one of the reasons he had so much success this year. But you start getting guys like Walter Nolan rolling in there.
I mean,
game changer?
I say they're not going anywhere. I don't know what Oregon looks like in the Big Ten, right? They are going somewhere. They're going to the Big Ten next year, and I don't know what kind of program that's going to be in the Big Ten.
Well, you bring in Dillian Gabriel on the offensive side to play quarterback, a guy that will have at that point more experience than any other active college football quarterback. And then you bring in a Walter Nolan on the defense to anchor that.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
Good place to start.
Absolutely.
Another visit tour that's about to crank up, Cam Ward, a guy you're very interested in, right?
Yeah, I think Cam Ward is a fabulous player. Now, September and October will much better for Cam Ward in Washington State than November. Ton of experience. Heard weeks ago he's had 2 7-figure offers. I think ultimately he ends up at Ohio State. Do we have some news on him?
He graduates tomorrow, did not want to take any visits until he graduated. Right now, he's expected to visit, wait for the list, Florida State, Miami, Nebraska, USC, Washington, and Wisconsin. That's Cam Ward's. I bet he doesn't visit all 6 campuses.
Oof.
I bet he visits with 6 people representing those campuses at one location.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a unique list too, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all over the country, by the way.
So listen, everything on the show is random. We plan very little of this show. And when the people at Ocean City, Maryland reached out and wanted us to come do the show there, we jumped all over doing that. And we're doing the show poolside for those that didn't hear the story earlier or forgot what happened. And all of a sudden, this family shows up, and everybody in the family is wearing Army basketball gear. And Lance says, "I guarantee you, that's the family of the Army basketball coach." And I was like, "That is insane. Why would you think that?" We look it up, and sure enough, it is Kevin Kuwik's family. So this show, we're not going to let him enjoy a vacation. We're going to go bother him. He could not have been more gracious. Came over, did an interview with him, and we have been fans of the Army basketball coach ever since. With Army Navy coming up tomorrow, we thought it'd be a great time to visit with him again as we are live at the Flora-Bama for the big Army Navy party with all the retired and active duty military here in this area. Coach, welcome back in to the next round. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. Appreciate you guys having me, and glad to talk some Army Navy.
Yeah, well, I hope we didn't ruin the vacation too bad. Seemed like you and the kids are having fun.
No, not at all. It was a great story, and God, I mean, Army basketball's for right now. Hopefully not in a couple of years, but right now it's still fairly anonymous. So we're just glad when we get noticed.
Well, we can't overstate the respect we have for retired and active military. Can we start going back to your military career? I mean, you were in the Army. You served in the Iraq War. You were in the Army from 96 to 2006, and while you were there, you earned a Bronze Star. And you're coaching at the same time while serving. So can you give us kind of the Cliff Notes journey that you've been on as a guy that served for our country?
Sure. I went to Notre Dame on an ROTC scholarship, got graduated, got commissioned as an engineer officer, a couple years active duty out at Fort Lewis as a platoon leader. Was an amazing experience, life-changing is what I tell my players, to be 22 years old and leading, 40 young men and, you just don't get that experience anywhere else. And then, trying to get into coaching after I was done being a platoon leader, I basically transferred to the National Guard. I was coaching at a little D2 in Memphis, Tennessee, Christian Brothers University, was in the Arkansas National Guard for a couple of years. Then I went up to Ohio University. I was with a reserve unit in Columbus, Ohio for a little bit. And then the Army's got this thing called the Individual Ready Reserve, and it's basically a database. And sure enough, we're in Iraq in 2004, and I thought I was receiving a letter that was going to be my discharge. Instead, I opened it up and it said, "Hey, guess what? Merry Christmas. You're going to Iraq for up to 540 days." And lo and behold, 3 months later, I was in Mosul and with the Indiana National Guard unit, did a year there and came back, got my discharge after that, and here I am.
Would you describe that as a world rocking when you open that letter thinking it's your discharge and it's actually your orders? Did that wreck your world, shock your world? I mean, how would you describe your feeling when you read that letter?
I don't think wreck is the right word, guys, because to me, turn any negative into a positive, whatever that is. But it was a shocker, that's for sure, to call home and tell your parents that lo and behold, I'm going to be in Iraq in a couple months. That was an emotional moment, but hey, obviously on the back end of it, I went over there with 500 guardsmen from Indiana. They love basketball, but they were professional soldiers. We did a great job. Everybody came back in one piece, and we played in Indiana a couple weeks ago, and I had my old boss talk to the team, and he sat behind the bench. So it was, that was a pretty special, things coming 180 degrees for us.
Well, you look into the eyes of a lot of great men and women on campus there every day, including your basketball team. And I know it's game day for you guys. You're getting ready for Harvard. But as we gather here at the Flora-Bama to celebrate the Army-Navy game, could you just sort of walk us through a day in the life of one of your student athletes? And I assume it's a lot the same for the football players will play, because like this morning, I was griping that I had to get up at before 7 a.m. to walk over here and sit up for the show. I would imagine that's a late call for a lot of people on your campus.
Yeah, these young men are usually going to get up between, we would call it 0 dark 30, but between 5:30 and 6. And first formation's about 6:45. You eat breakfast at 7. You're in class by 7:40. You have to take the leadership military science classes. So, these guys, instead of graduating with 124 hours like most, universities, they're going to graduate with like 150, 160 hours. So their day is jam-packed. You're going to, get up super early, grind it all day, make sure your barracks is presentable, make sure your uniform is presentable. And then it's time at 3:30. It's time to do what every other Division I athlete does. You're going to come up the hill. You're going to get your, your weights in. You're going to watch your film. You're going to, get your shots up, practice game, whatever it is. And then, going to basically go to bed by hopefully 10 or 11 the next night and get ready to do it again the next day. So, these guys don't get to do a lot of the fun stuff that your typical college student does, but, they have my ultimate respect and admiration for what they do. And, I am proud that the guys on my team and all these other cadets, when they graduate and get commissioned, they're going to be ready to lead our country's young men and women.
Coach, I know you're wrapping up your first semester on campus at West Point, but how different is the feel leading up to this game?
Oh, it is an amazing rivalry. There was a bonfire and like a pep rally on Wednesday night, and it was like 20 degrees out there, and I don't know, you had a couple thousand people. They were just, coming out of the woodwork for that. And, obviously, in war, Army and Navy, we're brothers. We work together. But for something like this, it's an awesome rivalry. It's a unique thing here. The last couple, and for a while, Army basketball typically is played on a Saturday. It's in season, and our guys haven't gone to this game. So this is going to be their first chance tomorrow to go to it. They're all really excited about that. So, just to be a part of, the Corps of Cadets with all their fellow cadets. And, it's going to be a memory that they're going to have for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that is really cool. Is that why you guys scheduled Harvard where you'd be in the area for the game?
100%. Next year, the game will be in D.C., so I don't know who it's going to be, but on that Friday, we're going to play Georgetown, Howard, George Mason, whatever it is, we're going to play somebody so that we can, our guys get a chance to be a part of the weekend.
Army basketball coach, and we can call him a friend of the show. We vacationed with him once. Coach Kevin Kuwik with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. And this is, listen, I'm not man enough to have ever served in the military. I did grow up in a military community, and I kind of know that culture a little bit. Do you think because of your service, the players at West Point maybe look at you a little differently than they would a coach that did not serve?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's, in my office, I have the combat boots I wore in Iraq. I have my uniform framed there. And, when I bring a recruit and his parents in and they sit on the couch, obviously when you get recruited by a military academy and you're a family that's not very versed in the military yourselves, your mind jumps to the worst case scenarios. Where could my son possibly be in 5 years from now? And, and all that sort of thing. But because I did it, I can show them that and say, hey, I'm not asking your son to do anything that I haven't done myself. So, for me to, again, I did ROTC, not the academy. They're two different things, but I did serve. I know a lot of the acronyms. I know a lot of the things these guys are going through. And I definitely think that allows me a little bit of a unique connection with them.
I don't want to brag about you, but you're on a 2-game win streak right now, Coach.
Well, hey, let's be honest. I love you guys, but I'm like, God, if you're having a coach of a 2-7 team on your show, you might be a little desperate for guests. But
I wasn't going to bring up the other 7. I just said you're on a 2-game win streak.
No, we own it. Now we lost 4 guys, a couple guys in the portal before I got the job, and so we're very young and inexperienced, but we're heading in the right direction. And yeah, we've had a couple games where we've dug some serious holes and got down 15 or 20 and battled back to even. And of course, the message is, if your coach knew what he was doing, you wouldn't be down 15 or 20 in the first place. But we are headed in the right direction. Every day you walk into the gym with these guys, their attitude is awesome. Their work ethic is unbelievable. They're in it for the right reasons, for themselves, not for themselves, for their brothers, for what this place stands for. I follow you guys obviously on Twitter, and you guys are in the thick of all the stuff that's happening in college athletics right now, and that's what happened. That's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with it. But that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with appreciating the heck out of Army and Navy and Air Force, because these young men are kind of throwbacks. They're doing it kind of the old way, and I think there's a part of a lot of us that wishes college athletics still was that. And I'm just enjoying the hell out of being around these guys and being with them every single day.
Well, I will tell our listeners and viewers that if Coach does his job the way we think he's going to do it, Army, when he finally gets them to the NCAA tournament, it'll be the first time they ever made the NCAA tournament.
Are you serious?
Army is one of the very few schools that has been eligible for the NCAA tournament in every year that has been in existence, and has never been. Kevin Kuwik is the guy that's going to get them.
Oh, I can't imagine that party, Coach, the night y'all do that.
It's going to be a hell of a party, guys. We'll be doing push-ups and all this stuff, shining our boots and everything like that when it happens.
The real test is, will you still come on this show on game day after you've made the NCAA tournament?
Hey, I won't. I can't commit to game day, guys. But when Selection Sunday, between when we clinch the Patriot League championship on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and between around Selection Sunday, I will be on the show, and you guys can say, hey, I believed in you, Coach, before anybody else did. I will really
I believed in you poolside in Ocean City.
I didn't know who you were until this guy pointed you out.
And if you've got a career arc that is like Bobby Knight or Mike Krzyzewski coming from West Point, we expect you to maybe be a regular at that point.
Hey, let's pump the brakes here, guys. Other than my name starting with K, that's about the only parallel likely. So I'm going to be the best Kevin Kuck I could be, and I will be fine with that.
Hey, final question here. I just wanted to ask you, because you brought up portal. And I know this has got to be kind of a catch-22, because you get up. I can understand coaches being upset if you recruit a player, you develop them, and then somebody comes in and cherry picks that player. But at the same time, it's kind of like if a coach like you gets an opportunity to get a job in the ACC or the SEC or the Big Ten, nobody's going to blame you for leaving. So as a coach, how do you handle those emotions when one of your players gets maybe a better opportunity to take their game somewhere else?
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in it for the right reason, you want what's best for these young men, I think, it's all about relationships. My charge to my assistants, myself, we want to create a transfer portal proof program. And that comes into what we do every single day, how we pour into these young men, how we are with them in the gym. We reach out to them. We reach out to their families when they're home, when they're struggling. We're there for them, whether they're playing 40 minutes or they're not playing at all. And nothing is ever going to be perfect, but your goal is to love them, support them, care for them like that every single day. And they appreciate that. And if you find the right guys and the right families, they stay with you. And you know what? If they don't, no regrets. You find the next guy, the next man's up, whatever. I think that's the world we're in. I think I have a little regret when these young men are in high school. Maybe a little bit we're always searching for the next best opportunity instead of being comfortable where we're at and going to high school with the kids we grew up with for 4 years. But all these parents are trying to do is do what's best for their kids. So you can't hold that against them. But golly, I want our kids to be able to fight through adversity. So I worry that we're kind of shielding them from that a little bit. So I'm a little bit conflicted both ways. But at the end of the day, I want what's best for these young men and women.
Hey, by the way, Navy also a 2-win team right now. They're on a 1-game losing streak, not your 2-game win streak.
There you go.
And you've got 2 dates with them coming up in January and February. I think you're a better team than them. So
Well,
I think you got them right where you want them this year, Coach. Go get them.
We need to be better than Harvard tonight, and then we'll worry about that when we get to that.
There you go. I like it. Well, Coach, I hope you know what I'm about to say. We don't say lightly on this show. This is the greatest nation in the universe because men and women like you and your players who serve this country in the uniform, and without you, we are nothing as a nation. So I hope you know how grateful we are to your service and your players' service, and we really do appreciate the time today.
No, appreciate you guys and all the people that are on your show that have served and have had family that served. I have a special bond with them and the utmost respect. And, hey, we can always complain about what we don't like and what we don't have and what could be better, but we have a lot of good things to be thankful here. And, I never want people to lose sight of that.
Yeah. I hope we don't. Go whip Harvard tonight, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks,
have a great
guys.
weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is Coach Kevin Kuwik, friend of the show, the Army head basketball coach. I do love that man.
Oh, I'll tell you, he'd be successful in anything he does.
Yep.
You can't tell me that he couldn't do Roger Goodell's job as the NFL commissioner.
Absolutely.
But if I had a kid that was like, a walk-on and was going to play, I don't know, average a minute a game and play senior night and all that stuff, or go play for a man like that and actually get to play, the transformation he could do for your kid in 3 or 4 years would be absolutely amazing. And just, I don't know what it would be worth to hang out with a guy and shadow him for a month.
Since I met him, I've tried to make my bed every day.
How's that going?
I made it this morning. Go check.
Did you? I'll take your word for it.
On vacation, that's impressive.
That is impressive, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important at home. I don't know about vacation. That's next level.
I have a bad habit of the alarm going off and me saying the F word 3 straight times. F word, F word, F word.
Fine, Bob.
Which does not make my pastor wife very happy. She always elbows me. She goes, "Why do you wake up like that every morning?" Because I want to keep sleeping. So I go F word, F word, F word. And then I got up and I thought of him because we were interviewing him. And I was like, they've been up already for an hour.
Right. Yeah. They've already been in formation.
So, I thought about him too, and we were going to have him on in just the whole weekend. And so we were pretty disciplined last night. We went in early, watched the game, and I got up this morning to work out. And I went downstairs, and they don't have any weights. It's all cardio.
Yeah.
Oh
and I'm just not in the mood to do cardio. So I went for a long walk on the beach. But yeah.
I made the bed, and in true military fashion, I tried to bounce a quarter off of it.
I know.
Stuck in the bed. I'm not very good at making the bed.
Could you imagine? Seriously, and I know this is more serious than what we're talking about. Go into the mailbox thinking you are getting a letter that says you have done everything you agreed to do in ROTC, and you are relieved of any obligation to the United States Army. And instead, that letter says, "Hey, on this date, you're shipping out to Iraq."
Yeah, we need you 2 years in the desert.
Can you imagine that for a minute? I know I can't.
I think it's probably at that point, as he said, he's 22 years old. It's probably much more difficult for his parents.
Yeah, that's what he said. The difficult part was having to call mom and dad and say, "Hey, I know you thought I was finished, but I'm shipping out to Iraq for a minimum of 500 some odd days."
Yeah, really, I'm not.
And a Bronze Star recipient, and I don't know if you noticed that, and I have dug to find, I don't know if you guys did in preparation, dug to find what he did to get the Bronze Star. I've never found it.
I couldn't find it
I
either.
couldn't either. And you notice he didn't bring it up either.
Yeah, and I did throw it out there.
I know.
And, maybe that he would take that and run with it, give us a story behind it. But that's just one of those. That's kind of the lady that's a little thick saying, "How many more weeks do you have?
Yeah,
how many more months? What's the due date?"
It's the highest honor for meritorious service that you can get as a member of the United States Army, and that's what he has.
All right. Some great sponsors here because we went commercial free there with Kevin. One of them, our friends with Anheuser-Busch and Adams Beverage, reminding you this holiday season to decide to ride before you even leave the house. Drunk driving prevention is a priority with our friends at Anheuser-Busch. You can't drive drunk if you don't drive there. Encourage friends to join in pledging to decide to ride. DecideToRide.com, DecideToRide.com, brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Uber, Adams Beverages, and here at the Next Round. Also by our friends Dr. B, LT. Take that hat off. Show everybody your great hair here at the Flora-Bama.
Well, Dunaway, it's a little matted up.
He's got a headset on too. You can't do that.
It's a little difficult to do.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine.
Yeah, Dunaway, you take that hat off. Yeah, that's what LT's
some
doing.
Caillou.
This is the before and after.
Dr. B, for more than 20 years, helping women and men turn to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. You can go online, more information, t3hair.net. Again, 3 times a week, I do the non-invasive treatment on the couch, 30 minutes each time. That's all it is. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since the first time I went to see Dr. Beckenstein. Make that call today, 205-319-0316, or online, t3hair.net.
Matt Zenitz, 24/7 Sports, speaking of friends of the show, reporting that Tulane has centered on John Summerall, the Troy head coach, for their opening.
Don't do it, John.
23-4 in 2 straight conference titles.
Don't go, John.
Don't do it.
Go. Tell us about A+. We got trash in the next segment.
A+ Style Home Remodeling. That's the people that redid my master bath. Master bath and kitchen, master bath and kitchen. I say it all the time. It's where you're going to get your money back when you remodel your home. A+ Style Home Remodeling did that for me. Brad Bell is the guy. Scotty has shown you photos of the way our bathroom looked when we bought it. It is not terrible, but it just needed updating. It was not the color we wanted. We wanted the darker tone. So my wife scoured the internet. She picked Brad Bell. I am so glad she did. He did tremendous work for us. His crews were timely. They were efficient. They were clean. They were courteous, everything you would want. And they did amazing work. The after photos you could see show you the work they did. You can call Brad anywhere in Alabama and he can help you. 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. If you miss any of this, just reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with my man Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758.
And our friends at the Flora-Bama, thank you so much for being with us. We'll do Trash on the Table when we come back this hour. Always brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the next round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Heisman Trophy awarded tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Jaden Daniels of LSU expected to be the easy winner in that. We'll see if that indeed happens. Our friends at the Birmingham Squadron want to remind you they're back at it tonight down at Legacy Arena. It's actually golden ticket night with the Squadron, their most enjoyable December game, where they have all kinds of door prizes. You get great basketball in those door prizes. 7 o'clock tip. You can get your tickets at the door for Legacy Arena tonight for the Birmingham Squadron against Rio Grande. During some timeouts and at halftime, they'll have dozens of awesome prizes and experiences that they'll be giving away. That's with the Birmingham Squadron tonight down at Legacy Arena. The tip is 7 o'clock. You'll want to be with us Monday. We're not going to tell you what we're doing Monday. But if you're an Alabama football fan, around trash, maybe right after trash in that area, be with us Monday, right?
Yeah, we're going to have a really cool unveil.
Yeah. So we won't tell you what it is, but be with us Monday. If you're a Bama football fan, you'll want to be with us on Monday. Right now, it is time for trash. Hit the big button, Rockstar.
Waves in opposition. Anita Dick is an opponent. Waves in opposition. Holden Hiscock is also an opponent.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right.
Unbelievable.
Mortgages done the right way.
I want you to look at where. I want you to look. That echoed, by the way, through the Flora-Bama.
Yeah, I did. Interesting choice today, Rockstar.
I want you to look at the. Don't say it out loud, LT.
Okay.
I'll give you a heads up. But there's no way to pronounce the name of the stadium.
Yeah.
Where South Dakota State plays. Either way, it's a rough name.
It's just Dana's last name.
Yeah. Dana, I don't know if Dana married into that name.
No, we could have had fun with that for our Friday headlines.
We could have, yeah. But if ever a game was played there of meaning.
Because it's either one kind of house or the other.
Yep, it is. Hey, speaking of veterans, if you are a veteran looking for a VA loan, our friends at Mortgage Right, they've been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every single step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it, someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Call them today at 205-815-9200 or online, mortgageright.com/TNR. This is a really interesting way to serve up some justice.
Okay. Eye for an eye?
And I don't know if I agree with it or not. Let's go through it. Now, an Ohio woman who was convicted of assault for hurling a burrito bowl at a Chipotle worker was offered an unusual way to reduce her time in jail. The judges ordered Rosemary Hain, 39 years old. She now must work at the fast food job for 2 months.
Oh, so she threw a burrito bowl at a Chipotle worker, and they said your punishment is you got to be that worker for 2 months.
Hain was captured in the viral video screaming at a Chipotle employee before throwing her food in the worker's face. At first, she was slated to pay a fine and serve 180 days in jail with 90 days suspended. That is hefty. I mean, I know she threw a bowl in the face, but getting 3 months in jail?
I mean, how hot was the food? I got to know some details there.
Probably was not a first offense either.
Yeah.
Now, Judge Timothy Gilligan told Hain at her sentencing in Parma, Ohio, you didn't get your burrito bowl the way you liked it. This is how you respond. This is not Real Housewives of Parma. This behavior is not acceptable. So,
Housewives of Parma, did he go there?
Yeah, he did. Told Hain she could cut off 60 days in jail. She agreed to work at least 20 hours per week at the fast food restaurant for 2 months. Hain did accept. The problem you've got here, the workers aren't going to accept you. They're going to absolutely hate you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the punishment, right?
I guess. I mean, you would have to accept the job.
Yeah.
But I would appreciate, hey, look, can I at least have a clean slate at the Chipotle restaurant I'm going to?
What should be the purpose of prison or jail?
Rehab.
Rehab.
Yeah.
Make people better when they get out.
Right. And when they get out, they're like, I do not want to go back there. Right. So I'm going to clean up my path. Don't you think she'll probably never throw a burrito at anybody again after this?
Probably. I mean, I think 90 dadays in jail is probably enough.
But think about if we did this in other things in life, would it help us? For instance,
give me an example.
If you get caught speeding in a construction zone on an interstate, and they make us work for 30 days in that construction zone on the interstate, would we not appreciate people slowing down to 45 miles per hour?
I'm never going to speed if that's on the table.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what Jim's saying. Yeah.
And because the reason you're supposed to slow down to 45 is not because they want to just piss you off on your drive to the beach. They want you to do it to be safe for those men and women who are out there working.
Yeah, I mean, look, the repercussion is the reason a lot of people don't do stuff, right?
I ran a red light in Arizona, and it was unintentional, but I ran a red light. Instead of doing 8 hours in traffic school, maybe I should have to stand in traffic in an intersection.
Yes, you have to direct.
and let people whiz past me or something. I wouldn't run that red light anymore.
So here's our dummy award today.
All right.
A woman's medical exam turned into a literal pain in the butt thanks to a poorly placed firearm. An adverse event, a report sent to the Food and Drug Administration earlier this year, details an alleged incident where the woman was shot in the right buttock by her own gun that was activated by the MRI machine. Thankfully, the injury was relatively mild, and she has recovered just fine. Now, according to the report, the discharge occurred on June 28th. The unnamed 57-year-old woman entered the MRI room with a concealed iron-containing handgun. As she was about to enter the machine, the gun was attracted to the powerful magnet inside of it, fired off one single round into her right buttock.
But see, when I grew up in the 70s, and that's where if you were going to walk into an area you were going to be frisked, you always hid one like in your back belt, right? And
Right.
Frisk you.
Is that where you put yours?
And then I'd pull it out, and I got him at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could see where that happened.
I think if I'm getting an MRI machine, I'll probably put my gun aside. It's not going to do me much good in there, right?
I can take it by the crowd's reaction here. If you were to walk in and they were the teller behind the bank and you were to ask for anything,
they'd laugh.
Yeah. I don't think so. Not today, my friend.
Is it because I turned my gun sideways?
Yeah, what are you in a gang? Are you a blood or a grip?
You shoot straighter when you turn it sideways like that?
Hey, Rocky, I can't believe this next story is really a thing. So anyway, this Colombian man who's a influencer, YouTube star, whatever, he has spent $175,000 to undergo what is called the most painful surgery ever. He's 5'8". He wants to be taller. The Instagram star's name is Jefferson Casio, 29 years old. He revealed he underwent lower limb lengthening surgery.
No, I've seen this cat on TikTok. This is real.
To stretch his legs an additional 6 inches and become 6 feet tall. That math, first of all, doesn't work. 5'8", 6 inches, you're 6'2".
Yeah, but Rockstar, have you seen video of this old boy?
No, I've seen the pictures of him. He's got quite a little bit of a tattoos.
Oh, there he is. There.
We have the picture of him with his braces on. That healing process has got to be a biatch.
Yeah, he's all out of whack now, though. I've seen photos of the guy like
That's
nothing.
what I was going to ask you. It can't be proportional.
Yeah.
Like you were born away because things are supposed to be proportional with your body.
That's right. I mean, if you're adding 4 inches of leg, your midriff is going to be out of whack with your leg.
Yeah,
length,
he looks like did you ever take
like
the
a guy on stilts?
No. Did you ever have the G.I. Joe and you would take the top off of one and put it on another one and then it was all disoriented?
No.
Y'all never did that? Okay.
No, I think that was a sign of a serial killer.
Jim, I did it. I've never killed a soul.
No, this would be almost like a Barbie, right? Because aren't the legs like really, really long and the torso is really short?
Yeah, he's way out of whack. You could tell something is off when you look at him, but you're like, I can't really put my finger on it.
This guy's not self-absorbed. The quote, yes, my legs are pretty, but I hate them. I'm self-conscious like almost all human beings, but some of my parts of my body have a couple 100 million pesos to use here to change them. Now, Casio boasts more than 28 million followers across Instagram and TikTok. He spent he estimates between $50,000 and $175,000 for the treatment. That's a big gap, by the way, between $50,000 and $175,000.
Yeah, I really can't keep up with it.
Now, they say the excruciating, intense surgery involves breaking a patient's bones. Then they insert a metal rod, and they use an external device to slowly lengthen the gap multiple times.
See, I've seen somebody that.
A day.
Yeah, no, I've seen something. You're given like a crank or something like that. And I think every other day or something like that, you twist it one time and it lengthens a little bit more. It's supposed to be super painful for I think it's once a week for however long it takes to heal. You have to crank that thing to push it one more time until it's to the
It took
right height.
152 days, or roughly 6 months, before achieving his new 6-foot frame.
So that's 152 days of turning that crank.
Yeah, I'd have to be.
Yeah, but when you say 5'11", I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need to get to 6 feet.
But okay, 5'8", 6 to 6 feet. He literally, and his first name is what? Jefferson? He
Jefferson.
literally was moving on up.
Oh, gosh.
They
laughed. They laughed.
It was good because it was so bad.
We got it, Jim. We got it. Yeah.
Shout out Norman Lear.
Yeah, we got it.
Who died?
Pour one out
Hey,
for it.
by the way, I saw last night Norman Lear. Did you see this? His last production. is based in Alabama. It's George Wallace, clearly not the former governor, the comedian.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Netflix special. I don't know the name of it, but Norman Lear was the last thing he did. I saw that on social media last night.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
Survey results published in January indicate about 1/3 of adult Americans think they could safely land a passenger aircraft with air controls guidance. Among male respondents, the confidence level rose to nearly 50%. I got a friend that'll be here in a minute. Guarantee you he thinks he could do this.
I could not. I even get nervous when the professionals are doing it, because as you get closer and closer, that you never know if it's going to be
yeah, you're right. I really don't trust those guys.
A smooth landing, or is it going to be one of those where it's boom and you bounce once or twice?
Now, a pilot, according to this, spends 90% of their time monitoring autopilot systems, making sure everything is working as intended. The other 10% is spent managing problems, taxiing, taking off, and landing. Takeoffs and landings, arguably the most difficult task pilots perform, and are always performed manually.
Who is it? Yeager, the guy who broke the sound.
Chuck Yeager.
Chuck Yeager.
Yeah.
His famous quote, because I think he passed away not yesterday, but yesterday in history. And his famous quote was, a good landing is any landing you can walk away from. A great landing is any landing you can walk away from and use the plane again the next day.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good line. Yeah.
That really is. Here are some dares you could do. I like these, Rocky. Show everyone your search history from the past week. I would not want to see yours.
Who, Dunaway's?
It's nothing but sports.
Here, I'll read you mine. I don't know. I don't know how to do I can't do it on my phone. I only surf the internet on my phone, basically. I guess I can do it on my phone. How do you do search history on your phone? I'll be happy to do it.
See, how boring is that?
What'd you?
My history today.
Yeah, I'm talking about your home computer.
The only computer I own. I mean, I probably should stop about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it on my phone. I'd read it to you, I swear, but I can't do it on my phone.
Here's another dare you could do. Be blindfolded, let someone feed you something. You were talking about getting baby birded the other day, weren't you?
I wasn't. Rockstar was.
Read out the last 5 text messages you sent to the last 5 people you spoke to.
I got mine. You want mine? Sean Henniger, he's up. That's Rockstar telling me that Coach Kuwik was there.
Rick Long for me said, man, that was a great guest. I said, he's a good dude, no doubt. That was exciting.
Mario Garduno, who does my yard, the check is under the mat. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. My wife, who's in here, is hot wife. Hey, sorry about that. Interrupted my phone call. So my call to her lasted 10 seconds.
Yep.
Harper was picking something up for me. Hope you guys have a great day. I love you.
Yeah. I've got a text message to read and our agents, Russ Campbell and Patrick Strong. I am not going to read that one out loud if you do not mind. That's a little business right there that you guys are aware of.
I'm with some people of the show. We're going to talk about something afterwards.
Kevin Kuwik, Army head coach. Appreciate you guys having me on. Really enjoyed it. So there you go. There's my 5.
My 4th one was Taylor Korn that says, I'm on a heater.
I got that same one.
Yeah.
Does that mean you in that group?
And then she says, 2 and 1 on the night. I'm catching bags.
Little T is hooked.
She's too busy to come to the Flora-Bama.
I'm catching bags.
And the final one, I think we might need to implement this as part of the bracket challenge this year. Scroll through your Instagram feed, stop at random. Whoever's post you land on, comment a 10-sentence paragraph on their post.
Okay, say it again.
All right, I'm good. So I
scroll through your Instagram,
right?
Stop randomly,
right?
Whoever's post you land on, comment a 10-sentence paragraph on their post.
Mine's on Dunaway. I swear to you, mine landed on Dunaway.
I'm not shocked. You guys
had
dinner together last night.
I followed him on. You were at dinner. You were with us.
Mine doesn't. Okay. Here
we go. I was last night.
Yeah, you were last night. Yeah. Who you stopped on?
I stopped on Zach Blackerby.
Zach Blackerby, Village Vice. What did Zach say?
No, he's got to do.
Oh, you got to do something about Zach. They're killing it for us on Village Vice.
Auburn fam, how we feel about Auburn's matchup with Appalachian State.
Do something.
They've already played them.
Do something crazy. Conspiracy theory. 10 sentences.
Yeah. My 5th text was from my daughter. I sent a picture from watching music here at the Flora-Bama last night out on Instagram, and she texted me, "Father, since when are you at the Flora-Bama?"
She called you father?
Father?
Father.
Very formal.
I mean, what are y'all in the 1700s?
I said,
Papa.
got here today, here through Sunday. You want to come down? And she says, got plans already.
Hey, there's a group. Ryan, is it Ryan Dyer, Steve? Is that who it is? Where are they tonight? Is it the main room? Or it's at the Dome? At 10 o'clock. Got Ryan Dyer, really, really good.
Was that the guy that you were catcalling last year?
Don't think so. Yeah. But I might have been. I don't know.
I think it was. Was it when we were in the corner, Steve?
Yeah. They're good. He's really good. Yeah, they're on tonight.
And you kept yelling, play George Strait.
Yeah, well, he promised me he would, and then he did not.
And he said, shut the
No, he did not. He did not do that. Huh? I did not tip him. He didn't play George Strait. Wait,
right.
He didn't play.
That's how this works, right?
And then you sat on the banister and got
I did.
called out.
I was sitting on the banister right there, got called out, and that was a rough night for me.
Ishmael.
Yeah.
I was just sitting on a banister.
My Kingpin reference.
Yes.
By the way, that's the third gnat that has flown around through here and has landed in the floor in the thing.
You have to pay extra.
And dies with a smile on its face. Let me tell you, it gets in there. The alcohol content.
Did you just suck around him?
He just.
Yeah, he did.
He just lays back and slips off into gnat heaven. Yeah, exactly.
That's trash, Jim.
That's trash?
Yep.
Oh, that is it.
Right.
Yeah. Again, are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available and guide you through every step of the process. Call them today, 205-815-9200, or online you can apply right there, mortgageright.com/TNR.
Here is a fact about tomorrow's Army-Navy game that may surprise you. This from the Kraft family, one of the Krafts, not Robert, but the son, about the game. This is your Champy's Game Day Facts, brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew over there, they bring you this hour every day. Fantastic Southern fried chicken. It's a destination place. If you're on your way, say, down to the University of Montevallo, driving from Birmingham, champy'schicken.com, champy'schicken.com. Stop by Highway 119 in Alabaster, right across the railroad tracks off of 31. You can't miss it. Sterling is the best. And try the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Robert Kraft's oldest son, I think it's Jonathan, talking about tomorrow's Army-Navy game, first ever in Boston at Gillette Stadium. He says this ticket has been tougher than any AFC championship game that we have played there, the ticket demands. And
that sounds a little bit like an overstatement to me.
And more than any of the shows Taylor Swift played there this summer.
That certainly sounds like an overstatement.
I find that hard to believe.
Listen, I love our service members, but I'm going to imagine it's harder to get, or more expensive to get a Taylor Swift ticket or a AFC championship.
Yeah, I mean, bucket list or not.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's like, hey, you got to, like, you feel like for your kids, you pay whatever the amount is for the Taylor Swift concert, but for yourself, you're going to pay $500 to get in this game?
If I was in the area, I would to see it one time, but I'm not in Boston. When we come back, greatest player, we'll each name one that did not win the Heisman Trophy tomorrow, and we'll wrap it up here at the Flora-Bama. This is the next round.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention next round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only Ariat shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the Big Red Building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
I tell you what, before we do our final segment here on greatest players not to win the Heisman Trophy before Jaden Daniels likely takes it tomorrow, there's something that is undefeated in the world. And that, well, there's two things that are undefeated in the world.
Right.
One of them is confidence of people associated with the state of Texas.
Right. They think they're the best.
I mean, Steve, you've been around the world, man. The confidence of people that are associated with the state of Texas is 100%.
Yep. Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
This gentleman back here, who I just met.
The guy in the yellow shirt over there.
And the Texas hat.
Uh-huh. Oh, is that a Texas hat? I can't say that far.
Yeah, hook 'em horns, he says.
Oh, yeah.
I just asked him. There it is. There's the hook 'em horns.
Yep.
I just said, if it's Alabama, Texas in the rematch, how you feeling?
Right.
He says,
hook 'em, baby.
I like our chances.
I like our chances, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking on behalf of the Alabama people, I think the quarterback knows who he is now. I don't think the quarterback knew who he was that night, right?
Right. Okay.
Gifted you a couple of touchdowns.
Gifted. Wow.
Yeah.
Texas didn't earn that win, you're saying.
Yeah. So I hope it happens. I hope it happens.
You kind of did say that.
Yeah, you did. You said Texas didn't earn that win in Tuscaloosa. That was given to him.
I hope it happens. Hope we see it again.
Lance thinks Washington's beat Texas, so he says.
Oh, yeah. You don't even get to the championship game according to this guy.
Right. Yeah.
You know what's funny is they don't even think they can lose that game. Like they've already bought all the tickets in Houston.
No, I will say, he did say. Did you say when or if we get by Washington? I can't remember. I don't want to overlook them.
Don't want to overlook her. Yeah, you don't want to overlook a team in the semifinals of the college football playoff. You make it sound like they're Mercer.
Yeah. See, that's what a confident person
says.
Right. I don't want to overlook them. But that's a Texas way of saying, but I'm overlooking them.
Yeah.
Texas and Alabama for the national championship in Houston. If it happens, it would be fantastic. Our friends at Legacy can help you this holiday season. Maybe you want to take that holiday travel you've always dreamed of and need an easy way to pay back some money. You can do that with personal loans from Legacy. Also, Safer Way. We've got a good friend that has been hacked a couple of times lately. Credit cards.
Would that be me?
Yeah, it'll be you. You're a very good friend.
Why do you want to bring it up?
Yeah. I mean, I thought we did. I thought my identity has been compromised.
Yeah. Lance's life is unlocked.
Yeah.
It was not locked.
If Lance is doing a show in Dubai, it's not really him, right?
Right.
Lance will tell you that the easiest way to protect yourself is by using a credit card because you can challenge those charges from abroad. Rates as low as 8.9% APR when you use our friends at Legacy and their credit card. Just apply online in seconds. Federally insured by the NCUA, LegacyCreditUnion.com, LegacyCreditUnion.com. Let's just rattle off some names. Go ahead.
Real quick, I was going to say, it looks like it's about to be official and John Summerall to Tulane. Good for him. Love us some John Summerall on this show. I wish he would wait, but that Tulane job is better than it's ever been.
Yeah, and who
knows
knows
it's time to take it.
Behind the scenes, what they offered him, what kind of contract he got. So good for him. So
We're talking best players to never win the Heisman?
Yes.
Like deserving guys that year, not necessarily after
I
the
think
fact.
it's easy.
No, that deserving players
Yeah,
from college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peyton Manning lost the Heisman because of media campaign.
Yeah, you're right. I'll start a little bit before, and then I'll let you get to Peyton because I agree with Peyton.
Yeah.
But I think Marshall Faulk, based on the fact that he played at San Diego State.
Who won it in front of him?
Gino Toretta.
Boy, yeah, in hindsight.
I mean, you look at what Toretta had around him. I mean, he had so many freaking weapons. And then when he played an elite defense, he really got exposed. And that entire year, I remember watching a lot of Thursday night games, a lot of late night San Diego State. Marshall Faulk could not be stopped.
You know who coached him, right? You know who the head coach was?
Luganbill.
Al Luganbill,
Yeah.
Tom's dad. Tom Luganbill's dad was the head coach at San Diego State then.
But he ended up as remote as that program was, low TV profile.
Yeah.
He ended up being the runner-up to Gino Toretta.
All right. They're having a pizza party back in the studio. You guys see that? So the new that's the back row camera that we're only going to use apparently for pizza parties, not for the actual back row.
We're doing some cosmetics on the back row before we actually
look at
use
this.
Right now they're eating pizzas. What they're doing.
Hey, you think that we're upset with that? Look at this.
Yeah,
Forrester, take a look at this.
Forrester, come
Scotty, we got bushwhackers.
Y'all are in Birmingham.
Yeah.
You're eating great sliced pizza. We're eating
yeah
bushwhackers.
They're flex on a Friday from the office.
I know, pizza party underway.
I'm about to be on the beach.
Those jerseys do look good hanging on the wall.
They really do, yeah. The old back row camera with little Scotty eating some pizza. I don't know who's punching up the shots right now, Scott. God, what was I about to say? I was about to say something.
Oh, there's Lunsford. There's Tyler. That's the whole back row.
Yeah, good job, back row. That pizza looks good. Sliced pizza, the way to go. Hey, they really do have a pizza party when we're going. I thought that was a running joke.
Every
It's
time.
100%. So I was going to tell you a funny story on Gino Toretta. I was at the Iron Bowl and I was standing outside the Alabama radio booth talking to Tyler Watts, and Eli Gold walked out, and on the national broadcast, Lamar Thomas. When I say Lamar Thomas, everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
number
Miami
36 who had ball stripped.
Yep.
Also, kind of didn't he kind of instigate the brawl that was?
Oh yeah, when he was doing the Miami
FIU.
FIU, yeah. So Lamar Thomas is the Miami receiver that George T walked down and stole the ball from him. So Lamar Thomas walks out and he's talking to Eli Gold, and he introduces himself, and Eli says, "Oh, I'm the play-by-play guy at Alabama." He goes, "How long you been doing play-by-play?" And Eli goes, "This is my 38th year." And Lamar Thomas goes, "Then you know who I am."
Yeah.
It's a great line. Then you know who I am.
That was one of the biggest turning points in any national championship game ever.
Yeah, he was actually a really nice guy. Like Lamar
Yeah,
Thomas.
I'll
I talked
believe
to him
it.
for a minute. Very nice
Very
guy.
charismatic.
Yeah.
Vince Young didn't win a Heisman.
Yeah, the year with Vince Young, I'll say this, and the lasting impression was him beating USC, and he was fantastic. But we remember how good Reggie Bush was in 2005, right?
Right.
So I didn't have any problem with that. It sucked that Vince Young didn't win one. So I consider him to, deservingly be on this list.
We got about
Deshaun Watson's got to be on this list.
30 seconds. You got to throw Deshaun Watson on there. How about Peyton Manning? You mentioned. How about Deion Sanders? He was a fantastic. Defensive guys didn't win. If a defense is ever going to win it, he should have won it.
Well, and I don't know why he wasn't playing both ways.
Yeah. Tommy Frazier was unbelievable that national championship year for Nebraska. Adrian Peterson's a guy. Randy Moss, remember, he got relegated because of some issues playing at Marshall.
Right.
Yeah,
Had he been at Florida State,
yeah, he would have won it.
Yep.
He would have absolutely ended up winning. He was fantastic. Patrick Mahomes is on
Oh,
this
what?
list.
Patrick Mahomes couldn't beat a 500 team.
Yeah, that's because of what he's done in the NFL.
Of what he's become later on. That's our show at the Flora-Bama, the live show. We're back tomorrow at 11:30 Central Time with all our friends who are veterans and still active, watching the Army-Navy game and the Santa drop. Make sure you tune in on all of our video platforms. We're about to record a musical version, thank you, Lunsford, of the Mystery Fifth Hour. Until next time, enjoy your pizza, folks. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor.
Hey, a rare Friday edition of Village Vice, but you know what? You may just binge on the weekend. It may be a different day of the week. So, look, we appreciate you tuning in whenever you're tuning in. He is Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law, and we are talking quarterbacks because that's what so many people keep thinking about, Zach, and it's such a pivotal part of of not only portal season, but any college football season, regular season, postseason, anytime.
Yeah, at any level, right? Everybody's obsessed with quarterbacks, and rightfully so. It's such a huge part of a team's successes and failures. So, yeah, people are rightfully interested in what Auburn's going to do at quarterback.
I read the comments, Zach, against my better judgment and against your advice. I read every comment. And I appreciate, we appreciate everybody watching and commenting, but I saw a few on a recent video talking about Peyton Thorne, and everybody has a right to their opinion on Auburn's quarterback. But I saw a few people say, well, of course Auburn needs a portal quarterback because he just can't do it. And I just can't, I need more than that for a convincing argument, because I look at the improvement over the last month of the season when the offense really maintained its identity. I look at all of the pieces coming in around him, and I look at some history, and I think that's what we want to do today. Look at Auburn quarterbacks who have returned for a second year in the program in recent history, and I see evidence of improvement. So I just don't buy without something other than, well, I just don't see it. I need something more than that to tell me that Peyton can't do the job, because I think he can.
And you're about to go through some numbers, and I can't wait to hear them all. But I do think a perspective. Think about the perspective of the fact that he also, this will be the first spring and only spring that he goes through at Auburn as well. So this is a guy that came in after the spring process. It sounds like my understanding is he wanted to graduate at Michigan State before he transferred over, which is fine. But just kind of keep that in mind too. Like, this is going to be his second season, but his first true off season with his coaching staff.
Yeah. All right. Let me go back just 10 years. Like, we're not going to go further back than 10 years. I think football looks different 20 years ago than it does now. So I think to go back a lot further than that doesn't serve the same purpose. 10, 15 years ago was really the introduction of consistent, frequent tempo teams offensively. So let's kind of keep that in mind as we look at some of these numbers. All right. So Nick Marshall, 2013, 2014. Okay. Just looking at quarterback numbers, his passing yards increased from 1,976 in 2013 to 2,532. So an increase of over 500, about 560 yards per game, or 560 total yards, an increase of 42 or 43 yards per game. Nick Marshall on those two phenomenal offenses, 13 and 14, like juggernaut offenses, never averaged 200 passing yards per game. I think that's worth noting. Okay. Now, do you want to comment? Do you want to comment on these like example by example, or do you want me to run through all of them and then we go from there?
I think Nick Marshall was exceptional. I do think they changed their philosophy from 2013 to 2014, and they also went out and got Duke Williams, who was a big part of that receiving threat there. So different situation, but still, I think the point is there. And it's also one of my favorite stats to point to, because so many people talk about how Nick Marshall didn't improve as a passer at Auburn, and that's just not correct.
No, it's not correct. No, he did improve. By the way, 2013, 14 touchdowns, 6 picks. So a little better than a 2-to-1 ratio. 2014, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 6 more touchdowns, only 1 more interception, nearly a 3-to-1 ratio. Absolute objective improvement from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah. Once again, different style of offense. So, I think that matters, but they felt comfortable doing that because of Nick Marshall's ability to grow as a passer. Sure.
Yep. All right. 2017 to 2018, Jarrett Stidham. And this is the one where it's not flowery, but you can talk about some external factors here. So 2017, 14 games, 2018, 13 games. He attempted virtually the same number of passes. 1 less game in 2018. 370 attempts 2017, 369 attempts in 18. So 1 more game, 1 fewer pass attempt, 22 fewer completions year 1 versus year 2. Touchdowns exactly the same, 18 both years. Interceptions, he was down 1 interception from 6 to 5, 17 to 18. 66% completions in 17, down to 61% in 18. And yards per game. Now, yards per attempt went down 0.3 yards. So pretty consistent. And then yards per game, Auburn or Jarrett Stidham passed for 11 fewer yards per game his second year than his first year. Now,
I think when you look at all the context of that, Brad, and you also think about, well, he lost Kerryon Johnson, SEC Player of the Year. He lost, if I remember correctly, he lost virtually his whole offensive line. Braden Smith being the main one, if I remember that correctly, that timeline correctly. And the offense wasn't the same. The offense didn't click like it did in 2017. Also, Auburn's defense took a big step back from 2017 to 2018. And so field position, I'm sure, was impacted by that, as well as total opportunities per game. So the fact that it was close is actually pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that point and then the next example sort of go around the world to prove the point that you cannot, in a vacuum, evaluate. I don't think the current starting quarterback and say by itself, well, he just, from what I see, he can, or from what I see, he can't do it. You're not using enough information to form your argument there. So Bo Nix, and I won't go into all of the stats year by year, but his QBR, his QB rating increased every year with the exception of 19 to 20. But remember, 20 is the COVID season where there were no non-conference opponents. You're not likely going to go 24 for 28 against an SEC opponent and boost boost those numbers the way you would against a non-conference opponent. So, and it barely dipped from his freshman year to the 10-game conference schedule season of 2020. Every year, big jumps year after year. The whole point there is, of course, guys improve year over year if they have the mettle to hold the spot in the first place. And I think Peyton Thorne does. I think it just makes sense. If you take your preconceived notion out of it, it makes sense to expect that numbers are going to look better, which likely will lead to the team performing better.
I think so. And also, I don't think Peyton Thorne needs to be the best quarterback in the SEC for Auburn to win 8, 9, 10 games next year. I think on the road against Georgia, on the road against Alabama, I think that's pretty steep. I think every other game on this schedule is winnable. And if Auburn's defense can come close to what it did a year ago, and Auburn's offense be an average SEC offense, Auburn has a real path to winning 8 to 9 to maybe 10 games this upcoming season. And you're going to have to roll the dice on some things. You've got to finish out the transfer portal window. You've got to get some guys at certain positions that you really need. You need a starting corner, I believe. You need some strong defensive linemen that can play in that rotation, play a lot in that rotation. And you probably need 1 or 2 offensive linemen, you need 1 or 2 wide receivers. Like you got a checklist that you've got to run through. And then you also need some freshmen to not play like freshmen. And that's the whole benefit of having these 5 stars and high 4 stars is you hope that they can come in and play right away. So there's some variables here. There's no question about it. There are some variables here that Auburn need to work out in Auburn's favor. But yeah, I don't think Peyton Thorne is a concern. And look, there's so much excitement about recruiting right now. And rightfully so. There should be. They're killing it. They're doing an outstanding job. If they went out and acquired a quarterback, the money needed to acquire the quarterback, they would not be able to do what they're doing elsewhere. Like you can't have both right now. And so I think that's something worth noting as well, Brad.
Yeah, I agree. And so we welcome the conversation. I just sort of, I got a little bit, I don't know the right word. I raised my eyebrow a little bit at the argument. Well, it just doesn't pass the eye test. Well, I don't know that he doesn't pass the eye test. If you watch,
the argument that I've heard most about him missing, like he missed Jay Fair on that wheel route to Texas A&M. That's the one that pops up the most, and that was a terrible throw.
Sure.
But if you're gonna do that, you've got to bring up the ones that were beautiful throws that were dropped, or 50-50 balls that were that never went Auburn's way. It felt like this past season that Peyton did the right thing with the football. So if you're gonna pick the worst thing, you've got to pick other things that he did well that he did not get help on. So it doesn't go both ways. You got to pick, you got to go all of it.
Right. Your quarterback's not going to complete 90% of his passes. Like we gotta know that, right? 80% is Heisman-like. 70% is eye-popping. So you got to have a little bit of like baseball hitter perspective, where the best hitters in the history of the game got out 7 out of 10 times. Your quarterback is not going to be perfect, and I think you just said it wonderfully. If you point out the really bad, and there were bad, sure, that Texas A&M was bad, and the interception against Vanderbilt was, wasn't a bright moment. But if you're going to point those out, you have to give equal weight to the right throws, the right decisions, and I think the right far exceeded the wrong in 2023.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. You ready for a little buy sell, Brad Law?
I love buy sell time, and our friend Ross. There he is.
Ross definitely takes care of us, and he can take care of you. Serving the Auburn area with locations in Auburn, Lake Martin, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. From Auburn, Lake Martin to the Emerald Coast of Florida. Contact Ross Kilpatrick with Exit Realty Anchor South for all of your real estate needs. Call him at 334-402-0028. All right, time for a little buy sell. New players, first-year players for Auburn last year. So I'm counting transfers and true freshmen. New players last year accounted for 66 catches in 2023. 2024 will have more receptions from first-year Auburn Tigers. You buying or selling?
What was the number? 63?
66 is what I counted.
66. Yeah, I buy that. In fact, I'm in a hurry to get to Ross and buy that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Players. I got some numbers next week, by the way.
Okay.
That will further cement that belief. We'll get into that next week.
Yeah, there's going to be a big chunk of the offseason where I think it's going to be really fun to look at 5-star freshman wide receiver numbers at different places. I think that's going to be fun to do as well.
I agree.
All right, 4 players threw a pass for Auburn last season. Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, Holden Geriner, and then Jarquez Hunter did as well. Right. Less guys throw a pass for Auburn next season. You buying or selling?
That's tough because you could get into trick plays with some of these receivers. I will say
trick
more.
Plays, and Auburn may carry an extra quarterback next year too.
Yeah, I think the 3 quarterbacks throwing a pass, I may sell that, but you didn't ask that. You just said players, and I think with receivers, and I think that next year you see. So it's a little bit of a longer answer, but I expect next year's offense to be more inventive and more just fun, like generally sort of shallow fun to watch. And I think that means you're going to see the incorporation of some more fun stuff. And I think that includes more guys throwing the ball.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm going to buy that.
Yep.
Or I guess I said less guys throw a pass, so I guess we're selling it.
Less guys throw, right? Yeah, we'll sell
we're
that.
technically selling it. Yeah, with how I worded it. All right, only 5 players recorded multiple sacks last season. Marcus Harris had 7. Jalen McLeod had 5.5. Eugene Asante had 5. Cam Riley had 2.5, and Elijah McAllister had 2. Everybody else had either 1 or 0.
Yeah.
More than 5 players have double-digit sacks in 2024. You buying or selling?
I buy it. Again, I think with more explosiveness from the talent you have coming in the freshman class, maybe you go get another guy who's somewhere close to McLeod in terms of explosiveness at the jack position. Yep, I buy it. I think you see. I think more explosiveness from the offense and the defense in year 2 under this coaching staff goal. Is to be expected.
That's the goal. The talent is trending up. The age may be trending down. And I think there's just going to be times where the talent pops. And I think there's going to be time where okay, it's just an age thing. I think we're going to kind of see both sides of the spectrum where it's like maybe we beat somebody we're not supposed to, and then maybe we drop one we're not supposed to. So we'll see. I'm with you. I think it's more. Seems like Jalen McLeod's coming back, so you feel like he'll get more than one sack. I think you feel good about Eugene Asante if he comes back, which it sounds like that's closer. He's closer to coming back than leaving.
Yeah.
Cam Riley, similar situation. I expect Cam Riley to come back. And so you're three. You're at 3 right now.
Yeah.
Does Jason Jones get 1 or 2 next year? What happens with Rodgers? Can he take that next step? I think Auburn's going to have to hit the portal for a starting caliber Jack linebacker as well. You got to think that player will do that.
Does Keontae get a couple next year if he comes back?
That'd be interesting. Yeah. I think they're going to use him like crazy if he comes back. So, and then a lot of talented kids coming in. Joseph Phillips, they're going to give him reps. You got to think. So yeah, we'll see. Jamonta Waller, we'll see if he can play day one. So I think I'm buying that too.
Yeah, I kind of have visions of you get some comfortable leads in non-conference games, and then you bring in this wave of young talent freshmen against a non-conference team that's kind of done. The game's not in the balance, but now you got this explosive youngster who's ready to make a name for himself and ready to pop on the field. And he makes, I think you can see 2-3 sacks on the year that just fit into that category. So yeah, buy it.
All right. Auburn is currently 11th in the On3 recruiting rankings. You buying or selling that they finish top 8 come early signing day?
I'm going to run out of money. I'm buying so much stuff today. Yep. I buy that too. This is the freeze warning that is the marketing campaign that sounds good. It sounds good really any time of year, but you hear more and more of it at the start of the season, right? I think this is your time of the year for the freeze warning. I think this is when Hugh Freeze gets in living rooms, at kitchen tables. This is closing season. Yeah, this is closing season. So this is when I think that the Auburn head coach is at his strongest, and I think people are going to be. Recruiting will not have been this exciting to talk about in a very long time. It'll be topped again next year at this time, I think. But I buy that.
I mean, the fact that even some of these conversations are somewhat realistic, like KJ Bolden, the 5-star FSU commit, like that's a fascinating one. Seems like I think he's visiting Auburn and Georgia at this time of year. So the fact that Auburn's in it this late for him, same with LJ McCray, who is visiting FSU. FSU and Auburn, the Florida commit. I mean, that's just, it's huge. It's huge, Brad. So we'll see. I'm buying that too. I think they finish top 8 come signing day. All right, last one. And we don't spend a whole lot of time on this one, but Auburn has 6 players drafted in the 2024 NFL draft.
It's a good number.
We can walk through this together if you want, because it took me a second to kind of walk through this. So you got Marcus Harris. I think he's getting drafted. You have Gunnar Britton. I think he's getting drafted. DJ James, Nehemiah Pritchett.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think it gets a little fuzzy. Like, does Elijah McAllister get drafted? Yeah. I don't know. Jalen Simpson was the other one. So it's like, does one of those guys outside of those 5 get drafted? Does an Elijah McAllister get drafted, or somebody who's, maybe flirting with leaving or not? Do they get drafted? I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
I will reluctantly sell that, but I think you may have somebody get a shot with a club obviously guys will get chances as undrafted free agents, but maybe somebody sticks. I think there's a better chance this year that somebody sticks as an undrafted free agent, despite not, getting actually drafted. So I will sell at 6. Yeah,
me too. And I think with us doing that, we're hinting that we believe that Jarquez Hunter comes back, that Rivaldo Fairweather comes back, that there's another one, that Keontae Scott comes back. So that's worth noting. Worth noting. Buy, sell, brought to you by our buddy Ross Kilpatrick, Exit Realty Anchor South. Give him a call at 334-402-0028 or stop by his office at 1922 Professional Circle, Suite 202 over in Auburn. Time for a little six-pack action?
Yeah, Village Vice six-pack, and there's only one football game this weekend, and so we'll get into some basketball talk. Army Navy, from 2002 to 2015, Navy won every single year. Starting in 2016, however, Army has won 5 of the last 7. Army is a 3-point favorite in this weekend's game. Who do you like and why?
Yeah, we're an Army family. The Blackerby's an Army family. So, yeah, go Army, beat Navy.
Go Army, beat Navy. So I went to Annapolis a few years ago on a vacation. It's been over 10 years now. Was blown away. It's gorgeous. I love Annapolis. You can't help but have this great sense of pride and respect when you're walking around the area.
Sure.
Having said that, my dad is retired Army National Guard, so gonna always lean a little bit toward Army. So with tremendous respect for everybody in the military, we're picking the games. So go Army, beat Navy.
Yep.
The other games that we're going to talk about here, Zach, are basketball, because that's it for football. And you don't care about the NFL this weekend because your Patriots have already won. So
that's true. That's true.
Right, so
should they have won? I don't know,
games
but they
this
did win.
weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. But you still
internet's failing me,
feel
Brad.
good about the win, right? You take
it's fine. Yeah. It just continues to raise the question of why was Mac Jones starting for so long? I'm going to quit talking now because we're overlapping.
All right. Let's see if it'll correct itself. This is a top 20 game in Knoxville tomorrow. Illinois is 7-1 and ranked number 20 in the country. Tennessee 17th at 5-3. They're unbeaten at home. Fighting Illini Volunteers.
I'll go with the SEC. I'll go with Tennessee to win this one. They've been a tad inconsistent, but almost every team in the SEC has been. But I'll go with Tennessee to get it right.
All right. How about another SEC Big Ten matchup? This one being played in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Alabama against number 4 Purdue. And Zach Edey, that big monster on the inside for Purdue. Does Alabama have an answer for him? Can they counter with their guard play? What do we think?
I think they totally could, Brad. I think they totally could. I do think Purdue's a tad overrated. I still think they're a top 10 team, but some people are saying they're the best team in college basketball. I don't know if I'm buying that, but I do think Purdue wins, but I would not be shocked if Alabama pulled this one out.
Yeah. Purdue, a pretty high scoring team. They're a little bit off brand for the Big Ten. Big Ten basketball, you think 65-61, those types of games. Purdue is up there in the 80s and above for a lot of their games. So I do think they can keep pace with Alabama's scoring.
Sure.
What about Wisconsin at Arizona? Arizona is your new number 1 team. Any chance Wildcats suffer their first loss of the year to a ranked Wisconsin team?
I don't think so. I've watched Wisconsin a little bit this year, and I've watched a good amount of Arizona. I think Arizona's rightfully so. I think they're ranked where they need to be. I'm not picking against them for a while.
All right. I agree with you. By the way, I don't think I picked these other 2 games. I think Tennessee beats Illinois and Knoxville. I think Purdue gets the win over Alabama, and it may be pretty comfortably. What about Arkansas? Arkansas goes to Tulsa. This is not in Norman, but they're playing Oklahoma. Porter Moser has got the Sooners undefeated, 8-0, ranked in the top 20. This is about the time of year that maybe another month or so, they have historically under Eric Musselman started very slow. Lots of losses November and December. And then they figure it out typically. So I think they don't figure it out just yet. I think Oklahoma gets this win.
I think this is going to be our first one where we disagree on. I'm going to take Arkansas. I think this is the kind of game where Musselman gets his team up. Arkansas wins the big games. They do. And it pays off in the postseason. They're so good at winning tournament games because I think their coach knows how to put all the chips into the middle of the table when it matters most. And this is a big one. I think this one's going to matter a good bit. So I'll go with Arkansas here.
All right. That's good. I respect that. There's some other pretty interesting games Saturday in the SEC.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, LSU hosts Kansas State. Missouri has a big opportunity at Kansas. Like Mizzou's been a little bit of a surprise so far this year. I like their coach a lot. I think he's very good. But the last game in our Village Vice 6-pack, Village Vice 6-pack, of course, brought to you by our friends at manscaped.com, the best in men's grooming. Where will the stockings be hung in your house? Have a little more confidence when you go hang those stockings with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, right? This helps to reduce nicks and reduce cuts and the risk thereof in your personal grooming experience. And don't just forget about the South Pole, guys, because when you've got a little no-shave November that carries over into the holiday season, the Handyman Compact Face Shaver, I give it a little run through 2-3 times a week. It takes a few seconds. It's easy to clean, easy to use, easy to store, and has made a world of difference in my weekly grooming routines. So manscaped.com, use the promo code VICE. You'll get 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped.com, promo code VICE. All right, the last game in our Village Vice 6-pack, Auburn and Indiana Holiday Hoopsgiving in Atlanta. The place is going to be jam-packed. I think it's going to be like a March atmosphere because I think both sides, it's going to be split pretty evenly, I think. And this is a big matchup. Indiana's an impressive team.
Indiana is an impressive team, and I don't think they thought this would happen. And all of a sudden, they just kind of keep winning games, both in conference and out of conference. So I think Indiana wins tomorrow, Brad. I'm taking Auburn to drop this one in Atlanta.
Okay. It is very tough. Like Indiana's beaten Maryland. They won at Michigan a couple of days ago. They're a 50% shooting team. They shoot 50%, and it's because they pound the ball on the inside. They have a couple of top-tier big men. Auburn has some pretty good talent in that front court as well, and that's the matchup to watch. Jani Broome against the fives for Indiana. They take less than a quarter of their shots from three. So they're a pound it inside, drive it type of team. I just don't think Auburn shoots as poorly as it did against Appalachian State. And I like the pace and the depth that Auburn will try to utilize to make the difference in the end. Now, they could trail by double digits, and it wouldn't surprise me. But I think in the end, pace and depth are where Auburn has the advantages. And so I like the Tigers in Atlanta.
One of the most, I think one of the most important stats to follow in this game will be how many personal fouls does Jani Broome have. We saw this in conference play consistently a year ago when the opposing team had big, physical, imposing fives. Jani Broome would get foul, like he would commit a lot of fouls, and then you got to have him on the court Saturday to win this game.
I think because of the style of play of both teams, I expect this game to take 2.5 hours. I think it's a foul fest, and look at free throw percentages maybe when it's all said and done.
Good point. Yep, good point. I'm with you. All right, Brad, it's going to be a fun weekend of basketball for sure, and I always watch Army Navy as well as a lot of fans do. So I think that about does it for today's show, my friend.
It does. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Remember, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.